All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another Pick Six podcast live stream. I'm Will Brinson, joined by Breechapalooza, aka or John Breech, aka Breechapalooza, and Debo, who's hanging out here as we prepare to watch the fourth quarter of the Steelers-Browns game. And man, the football gods obviously don't like Cleveland, and they have done us a solid because they have made this game spicy. The Steelers actually just punted. Somewhat disappointing. 2 or 3 yards to go around midfield. If they get it and they go score a touchdown, it's 35-30. And the Browns are completely clinched in the butt. So I don't love the punt. I think they should have gone there, and I'm surprised that they weren't more aggressive. You have I feel like they almost clinched up a little bit because they got it this close. Thoughts, Breech?
My thoughts are the Steelers special teams decisions have been disastrous. Does 2-point conversion count as special teams? That counts as offense. Whatever.
Yeah, what's Mike Tomlin doing?
Don't know when to go for two, apparently. They shouldn't have punted there because, look, you're going up and down the field. The Browns are already out of sorts right now. They look totally confused. Browns fans are melting down on Twitter. You know, the same thing's happening on Cleveland's sideline. You get the, oh my God, we're playing Pittsburgh. Here we go again. If you get it right there, you're moving. You have a chance to cut this to a one-score game. Instead, you give Cleveland the ball. You're letting them run off more clock. So that was a mind-boggling decision. And you know what? Even if you don't get that fourth down, if you fail, your defense comes out. You try and hold the Browns to a field goal. They get that field goal. They go up 38-23. It's still a 2-score game. So as long as if you go for it and fail, the only way it works against you is if the Browns score a touchdown, which they have not proven they can do in the second half.
Another big third down coming for Baker Mayfield right here. Oh, and he's got the conversion. That's huge. They had 2 straight 3-and-outs. And you can almost tell that Ben Roethlisberger, by the way, just took over play calling from Randy Fichtner. I think that's the biggest storyline is the Steelers look so disjointed. And I assume anybody who's jumping in here live knows that, how this happened. This first snap of the game went over Ben Roethlisberger's head. Marquise Pouncey sends it flying back. Neither James Conner nor Big Ben could land on it, and the Browns rolled it into the end zone for a touchdown. 3 first-half Big Ben picks, and all of a sudden, here we are. That was it's an enormous first half. I really hate the Steelers not going for that. I really, really hate that. The thrill on Twitch.
They're already past the point where the Steelers would have been if the Steelers had failed in that fourth down. The Browns would have had at the 47 of Pittsburgh. So they're already at the 41.
This is a good job by the Browns of being aggressive here too. This is what you need to do. You can't run the ball 3 times up the gut. You got to let Baker wing it. The Steelers have completely jammed in the box. This is a big couple of downs here because what you don't want if you're Cleveland is to end up in a long field goal situation, I don't think.
I mean, the icing on a Browns crap Sunday, assuming that happened, would be Cody Parkey trying from 45 yards and either missing it or having it blocked and that leading to a Steelers touchdown. So if you're the Browns, you've been playing so perfectly. The last thing you want is to send out Cody Parkey for a field goal of over 40 yards.
Yeah, that's a panic time. And we're looking too. You're up 12. So if you're the Steelers, a field goal here isn't that big a deal. You're still, what a great screen call.
Yeah, but a touchdown.
Oh my God. Housebound. Is there a flag? What?
No flag. That's just a touchdown. Oh my God. That's why you go for it on 4th and 1.
You got to go for it. That's terrible. Chris Joseph asks on YouTube, is Ryan okay?
He is not.
Probably not right now. We don't know. Mr. Seattle wants to know, where's Wilson tonight? Wilson is on CBS Sports HU. That is a great screen pass. What a beautifully timed call.
Kareem Hunt's 3rd touchdown?
That was Nick Chubb, man.
Oh, that's Chubb?
Yeah. That's okay. Yeah. Nick Chubb, that's a great screen. You run it on first. They scored in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. This game is going to go into the 80s. That's what the Steelers deserve that. And this game's not over at all.
Not at all. Look, if you're the Steelers, now you're thinking, all right, we'll get a touchdown, a two-pointer, we're down a field goal. We have seen crazier things happen. And just so everybody knows, Super Bowl 51, which is the godfather of blown leads, the Patriots were down 28-9 with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. That's 19 points, right?
Yeah.
And so this is 19 points with a little bit more time left. So it's not over, but if you're the Steelers, you can't be dinking and dunking your way down the field, which is that usually you don't have time for that anymore. Now you gotta start taking shots.
Kobe M says Wilson somewhere punching a picture of passive aggressive Breech. That's great. Wilson is actually on the set of CBS Sports HQ, I think, or maybe in the CBS Sports HQ green room up in Stamford, Connecticut. He's set to go on and do some video content for the company we work.
Or
with.
he is locked in a closet somewhere, shedding tears.
You know that clip of Tobias Funke from Arrested Development when he's in the shower and he's in his jorts and he's crying? Wilson's in his jorts in the shower.
He's crying, but he's also making a mock draft, trying to figure out who the Steelers should take with the 22nd overall pick now that that's going to be theirs once they lose this game.
I got to tell you, I mean, what's wild, though, is like the disparity between Big Ben and the Steelers offense in general in the first half. This is very similar, in my opinion, to the Colts game. Like they just, I mean, I know it's your, the Browns are trying to protect a lead, but the Steelers just came out and I mean, like Ben was whipping the ball around. He was slinging it. He looked sharp. Just a very disappointing move by the Steelers to punt there. I thought we were going to get a 1-score game.
I honestly thought when the Ravens-Titans game ended, I was like, there couldn't possibly be a more cowardly punt than what we saw from Mike Vrabel, 4th and 2 in his own territory. In a game where he was trailing in the fourth quarter, and nope, we had it. We got one from Tomlin.
Racking my brain, and that might be the worst play call of Mike Tomlin's career. Who tweeted that?
That sounds like a Ryan Wilson special.
Ryan Wilson. Which punt was worse? Let's do a Twitch poll. Debo, can we do that?
Let's do it.
Which punt was worse? No Twitch polls. Okay.
No polls.
What? No polls? Acer has polls.
Well, Brinson, we could do a poll of us three.
Okay.
Or you could put it on Twitter and let the people vote. Since Debo's shutting us off from polling.
All right. So what? Or was Vrabel's in the third quarter or the?
No. Vrabel's was in the fourth quarter with not very much time left. So he thought they were going to get like a 3 and out. That's why that one was worse.
Yeah, you're right.
And it was in his own territory. Like they driven into Baltimore's territory.
I just tweeted. I put one on Twitter. Which terrible punt was worse, Tomlin or Vrabel?
Okay, so Vrabel's came 4th and 2, Baltimore's 40-yard line. So they're in Baltimore's territory with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And the score at that time was 17-13.
My only issue with the Tomlin punt is that it's like you're down. Like, I mean, you're creating a historic comeback. Put if you apply pressure on the Browns, they are freaking out.
They're the Browns. They get in that mindset of, oh no, here we go again. And you have to make them think that. And you're the Steelers. And they didn't. And now they're down 19 points because Mike Tomlin made a horrible decision.
Somebody asked, how's this rank in terms of biggest playoff upsets? I saw a ESPN stats and info tweet saying that there have been, oh, goodness gracious. The Steelers are the first team since 2015 to punt when down at least 28 points from inside their opponent's 40-yard line. There were 11 such punts in the last 20 seasons prior to Sunday night, and this was the first half punt. Good Lord. Let's see where I saw this tweet somewhere. Maybe it was NFL research, but somebody said this would classify as the 4th time in playoff history, including the Frank Reich Bills game, I guess it was the 2014 Colts game with Andrew Luck against the Chiefs, which I watched from the hospital with my freshly born son, newly baked child, and
Robbie.
Yeah, and then also that was the year that Phillip Rivers beat Andy Dalton in the playoffs.
Oh, there's a deep shot. Why do we got to bring that up? See, now you're just rubbing salt in the wound, Brinson. Salt in the wound. And it's funny. Andy Dalton, who didn't get on the Andy Dalton list today? Lamar Jackson. But that's a story for another time.
Well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it afterwards. And
the Browns scored one more touchdown.
Patriots and the Falcons. So, yeah.
Well, I would say Tomlin's punt was worse because Vrabel, you're thinking we're down 4 points. Even if my defense doesn't get a stop, we give up field goal, we're still in it.
Vrabel's punt's worse.
No, I think the Tomlin punt is worse.
Yeah.
Because you're in a situation where you're down 12 points. You're down 2 scores in the fourth quarter. You need to go for it. Vrabel was thinking, I'm down 4 points. I'm likely going to get the ball again down 1 score. And that's ended up what happened because they got the ball down 2013 after Justin Tucker hit the field goal.
Yeah.
So both horrible decisions. I give Tomlin an F- and Vrabel an F.
Yeah, that's probably right. I think Tomlin's is worse because it's like if you they went for it on like 4th and 3 at the goal line. Like if you pick up that first down on the on the 4th and 2, not the touchdown, you are applying so much pressure to an interim coaching staff, a guy who's in Baker Mayfield who's playing in his first career playoff game, and a Browns team with years of very painful football and playoff football history. And that's where you want them. You want them in their heads. You want them freaking out. And you want everybody doing that.
And the Browns don't have a head coach on the sideline. You want to put that guy in a situation. Your special teams coordinator is the head coach. Put him in a situation where he has to make a tough decision. He has had to do that all game. You want to see someone melt down? It would be a special teams coordinator who is up 3 points against the Steelers with 4 minutes left to play in a playoff game because he has no idea what to call. He's probably thinking, gosh, what would Kevin do in his basement? I have no idea. Mike Vrabel has not had to make a single decision because the Steelers just kind of handed this game to the Browns. I mean, granted, the Browns have been amazing, but it just more on what Mike Tomlin should have gone for it.
Yeah. I agree with that. You got to be aggressive and go. So how do we think, where's my, Diego wants to, where's my hat? My hair looks good, so I don't need a hat. And my hat is right here. No.
I'm glad you're not wearing it.
Oh, thanks. I also have I can wear this hat or this hat.
Sunday's fancy hair day.
Oddly enough, I didn't shower today. My hair.
I could wear this hat. Always an option.
Oh, Brinson sucks. No, don't do that. You don't have to do that.
Okay, I won't do that.
So
I need my Wilson sucks hat for the post Steelers loss.
Quick reset here. 42-23. 19-point lead for the Browns. I mean, you hang 42 on the Steelers in the playoffs and you don't win. Whoo, man, that would be tough. Like the Browns have done their job. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I don't know that it would be considered a choke if you lose 45-42 or something.
I mean,
it'd be tough, but
it's a choke.
If
you blow a 19-point lead, we've been making fun of the Falcons for blowing a 28-3 lead. If you blow this big of a lead in the fourth quarter, it's a choke.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's probably fair.
I mean, I was half rooting for the Steelers to kick a field goal right before halftime, just so the halftime score would be 28-3.
Oh boy, here come the Steelers. It's crazy. Like, why do they not come out doing this?
This was their all game. The Browns secondary hasn't been good, and they just didn't test it. They didn't test it. What were they thinking?
They come out doing this, and Ben looks like this in the get-go. The Steelers win by 30. It's Tubagoo played worse than Rivers. Tubagoo is worse than Rivers. He's not as good a quarterback as Rivers, okay? That's the reality. He has more rings than Rivers, and that's fine. I get how we judge these things in the NFL. He's not as good a quarterback or as good a human being, if we're being honest. Facts only, guys.
Oh, my gosh. Steelers touchdown.
Oh, Chase Claypool. It's go time. Claypool overhits. Juju.
Oh, my goodness. So the Steelers have been absolutely stupid with 2-pointers. They should go for a 2-pointer here.
Ben is at
no-brainer.
He's at 409, and they're still down 13 points.
I was texting with a buddy earlier that said Roethlisberger might set the all-time pass. I texted at halftime because they're playing from behind. He was going to throw on every down in the second half that he might hit. I think the record's 552 yards. He might top that.
Yeah, Norm Van Brock. That's why I said Norm Van Brocklin's. It's 554. Norm Van Brocklin's record. Let's fire that up. What's the single biggest I wonder what the single biggest postseason number.
I think it's Brady in the Super Bowl against the Eagles.
It's got to be. Yeah, it's a good call.
Went over 500.
I don't think this actually includes.
So this is huge. The 2-pointer that they did not get. The reason that is big because if you get that, you still have the chance where you need a field goal as one of your 2 remaining scores, but now you need 2 touchdowns. So that
there's 11 minutes left. There's so much time left. The Steelers could cover. I'm not even kidding. Like, I mean, if the Steelers score 2 touchdowns unanswered, now look, this defense has to step up and do something. Why was I not live betting the over?
You could have been live betting the Steelers money line if you want. They were at plus like 1,400 at one point. You just put $10 on that. Win 140. I should have done it. What was I thinking? I'll tell you what I was thinking. 0-4-1 against the spread. That's why I didn't do it.
The over, though, as soon as the live line is Browns minus 8.5, I'd like the Steelers there. I
don't think the Browns are scoring again.
The thing about the over is that when it went over, I was so tilted by the ball going over Ben's head, like before, like right when you even like tuned into the game. Do the Chiefs want the Browns to win big time? I think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The Browns can.
Would you rather play the Browns or the Ravens? I mean, that's a no-brainer. I mean, I know that I've said the Chiefs dominate the Ravens, but they would much rather play the Browns.
Exactly. Although I kind of want to see a little bit of I kind of want to see the Browns and Chiefs, if only because, man, the Browns are gashing them on the ground. If only because my take that got me flambéed in the regular season when I said the Browns could be a problem for the Chiefs. To be like, yeah, what you talking about? Like, I'd love for it to be the close in the fourth quarter, just so I could retweet myself.
They can run, and that's your best way to beat the Chiefs. Yeah,
but the other thing too is like, is Denzel Ward back? And if he's back, does it even matter? Because look at what Ben and this offense is doing to the Browns tonight. Patrick Mahomes could go for a ton of yards.
I'll tell you what's amazing is that the Steelers about gained the Browns by 130 yards. And they're down 13.
Well, they had a pick six.
Oh my God.
Chubb again?
See, and this is the thing in the fourth quarter, I think, and we've seen a lot of players be very aware about this. Leonard Fournette went out of bounds. Oh, they called Chubb inbounds. It looked like he ran out of bounds. So the Browns caught a break. But, you know, if you're the Browns, you want to get tackled inbounds on every single play. Make sure the clock keeps running.
Man, I wish I'd stacked the Steelers wide receivers in DFS. That'd be, oh well, what are you gonna do? I lost my bees today in DFS. Not a very good day.
Steelers are running out of time. Tick, 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 tick.
10-20 left.
Yeah, but time's moving.
You just can't. You got to hold them to a field goal. K Meebs 42 asked, did anyone else get screwed by the Bears game ending without them doing an extra point? What was the? I'll jump in the chat. What was the specific screw job?
There were a couple that point spread closed at Saints favored by 11.5.
What was the final score?
21-9. So if the Bears kick the extra point.
Oh, I was in my head. I was thinking that the Saints had scored that final touchdown with Breech. I forgot that was overturned. Oh, that's a big drop.
Pick it up.
Oh, I'd grab that ball. I would grab that football.
Just so there's an obvious recovery if that needs to be reviewed.
I know. No, I didn't get hosed by that. I didn't take any Bear. I took a little bit of Bears live.
And you know what's crazy? That rule just changed like 8 or 9 years ago, where if somebody
this year,
that was this year.
Oh,
if somebody scores a touchdown with 0 seconds left on the clock and the extra point doesn't have any impact, if it doesn't have any impact on the game, you don't kick it.
No, it was this year because they did that. They were like, all right, like because there were situations where there was a situation last year, the year before, where somebody took a knee on an extra point because they knew, because it didn't matter. You know, it was a walk-off, and they're like, all right, we need to figure out a way to fix that. That's a great play. Get the ball to your running backs in space. Good job. Huge second down conversion. The Steelers absolutely have to hold them to a field goal here. Field goal here, and 2 touchdowns, 2 2-point conversions?
Yeah.
That's had a great game.
And Brinson, you are right. They changed it. 2018 season is when they passed.
Yeah. So it would have been for last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it started last year. All right. I mean, at this point, everything blends together.
That was when they made the Vikings come out, I guess, and tried the extra point after they beat the Saints.
Oh no! Remember that there was
Minneapolis Miracle, right?
It was the Minneapolis Miracle. They
were come out and tried the extra point.
The Saints had left and the Vikings had left. It was tons of controversy, and it was like they don't need to kick it, but it matters for gambling purposes, and it matters for statistical record keeping and all that. So they brought it back out there. You're right.
And then they just came out and nailed it. So it didn't even matter. They're like, we're not even going to kick it.
Yeah. And so they decided to make that change that all season. That's right. Was that the 2018 playoffs?
And you know what's funny? That was
no. That would have been
2017 playoffs.
17,
I think. 2018 was the pass interference, and 2019 was Saints losing to the Vikings again.
If you told me that Kirk Cousins had been in Minnesota for 5 years, I'd believe you.
It's rather unbelievable.
This is his It was 2017 playoffs. So January 2018, Minneapolis Miracle.
I mean,
just 3 years ago. That's
the Browns are just coming up clutch here.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would see this.
It's interesting that they're letting Baker throw some here. And it's smart, I think, because you're backing. And look, credit to Alex Van Pelt because he's calling some, they're being kind of aggressive here, and they're not backing off.
Well, what's your thought process if you're like Stefanski sitting at home and Mike Prefer's here coaching a 42-29 fourth quarter win? Van Pelt is on fire calling plays. I mean, are you letting Van Pelt call plays next week? Are you sitting in your basement just for good luck? I mean, it's the Cleveland Browns. You take luck where you can get it.
That's a good point. I'd be pretty
superstitious is not luck.
Yeah. What's Baker at? 243. So he's going.
Oh, wow.
Over. Wow. Steelers defense is not good. It hadn't been good for like a month. Baker's smiling out there. If you get a touchdown here, I think it's over.
Oh, yeah. Touchdown's over.
I mean, if you score 49 points and you lose, do I still think the Browns should have started Case Keenum? What? I never said that. That was Wilson.
You were adamant. You said Case Keenum is the guy.
You're just being a troll. That was Wilson who said that. Ice bananas.
That was I don't think Wilson's ever going to be on the podcast again after the Steelers lose this.
No, I think he sort of resigned to the fact that the Steelers were. If the Steelers get us hold to a field goal here, we'll get Wilson on.
Now, last week, remember he was all happy because he's like, "Oh, the only team in the playoffs the Steelers can actually beat is the Browns." He was pretty thrilled with how all this played out.
That's true. Can we get him on, or what's the deal with that?
We're working on it. We know his priorities at this point, I think.
His priorities, he's sitting at a desk with Eric Casillas doing nothing.
Tell him to get a cell phone, pull it up FaceTime style like this.
So this is a big second down, I think, because it sets up a huge play. And that's
now big third down. Big third down.
I know, but I'm saying the second down is huge because you now have a manageable. Like you needed to get 5, 6, 7 yards there. They did just that with the pass to Njoku.
Well, and even time wise, if they get another first down here, they can burn off another 2 minutes. So you got to make a stop here. Because at this point, you still need 2 scores no matter what, even if they get a field goal. And I'm telling you, if they stop him here, a Cody Parkey miss is not out of the question.
Yeah. A stop here, a Cody Parkey miss, and then all of a sudden it's, there it is. 1st and goal. Jumbo package. Play action. That is really ballsy to do that.
Wow.
Put it in Baker's hands. That's that's impressive. That's a big time throw. It's not a hard throw, but I mean, it's, Brian J on YouTube says Steelers are the worst 11-0 team of all time. I don't even know that I disagree. I do think that the Steelers were worse than their record, but a very good team. And then they got just hammered. 2 huge injuries on defense with Devin Bush and Bud Dupree. And they just don't have a run game. Like they're very one-dimensional on both sides of the ball. They can rush the passer, and they're giving Kareem Hunt a ton of goal line carries. Now the question would be for the Steelers. All right, so the Browns can run. Get this clock. If you're Mike Tomlin, do you start using your timeouts now?
I mean, it doesn't matter per se. I think I hold on to him. You hold on to him.
It's a huge drive by.
You're burning off 5 minutes of clock.
I mean, a 3 and out, and it's a one. Again, this is why that punt, man. I mean, you just can't. You only have X number of possessions.
And if they would have
now, all right. So Kareem Hunt on second down, stuff for no gain. So you're going to get it down to about 4. Man, they're starting that play clock fast. 4:30 thereabouts. If you're Cleveland, do you risk passing the ball here? Because
you've been doing it all game. I don't see why not. If you get a touchdown, it's game over. So I'm taking any risk I need to.
Yeah, that's true. And if you pass, I think the risk of hitting a pass for a touchdown.
You tell Baker, don't throw it unless it's there. Take the sack.
Yeah.
Make sure you have it.
No, just throw it away. Throw it in the back of the end zone if it's not there. All right, they didn't do run play action. Shot. Oh, Cooper. I mean, let's see the replay. I think you got to come down with that. Oh, boy. They just gave the Steelers a free timeout. You've got to.
Oh, my God. You have to catch that.
You could have picked that, too, though. That's a really risky throw. If he doesn't.
That was Javon Sims-esque from the first game.
All right, Cody Parkey time. From 24.
If Cody Parkey misses this, I'm going to cry. I will cry live right now. Actual tears.
Okay. This is huge because it obviously it makes it a. And by the way, that the 2-point conversion the Steelers went for and then went for one afterwards. Now looming kind of large, I guess. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. You're down 16. You need 2 touchdowns and 2-point conversions. But so, I mean,
there's no margin for error. If you get a touchdown and you miss the 2-point conversion, game's probably over because you're not getting 2 scores.
Yeah.
What's
the time that they? I mean,
all right. There's 4:28 left. If I'm the Steelers, if I'm the offensive coach, if I'm Mike Tomlin, I'm saying, guys, we have to score before the 2-minute warning because we need that. And then we have all 3 of our timeouts. And then say there's 2:10 left when they score. If you're Pittsburgh, you can play are we going to onside kick it? Or are we going to kick it deep? And you can kick it deep because you have the 2-minute warning and all 3 of your timeouts. So you can play that mind game, but only it really only makes sense if you score before the 2-minute warning. So that's got to be kind of your.
The Steelers' last possession was a touchdown in 1 minute and 24 seconds.
Then they can do this
in 4 plays, 76 yards. I mean, why would you? What are you messing around with in the first half? Like, if you can do this, what on earth?
If you could do this, why are you punting on 4th and 1 from your own 47-yard line?
I know.
We're down 35-10.
Like Ben has looked so much sharper in the second half. He's being patient, but he's being decisive, and he's whipping the ball. He's throwing it with a lot of velocity, a lot of accuracy. It's crazy, man. Debo, are those the blue light glasses or whatever?
Yeah, enough staring at screens, just destroying my eyes. I'm looking back at these watch parties. I'm just squinting the entire time.
Oh, really? Do you have bad vision or something?
No, just a lot of screen time. I'm sure you.
Brinson's been going blind for like 12 years. So
no, I have 20/20 vision and perfect hearing.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I don't know about perfect hearing.
I have like 650 over 20.
Selective hearing, we should say. Selective hearing.
Sure.
That's way more accurate.
Oh, Pete Blackburn in the Twitch stream, ladies and gentlemen. I'll fight you. Pete, you want to hop on, buddy? I'll fight you anytime. But you know what I'll do first is I'll beat you by 10 strokes in PGA.
Pete should have made a bet that if the Browns win this game, we should have talked him into this. He had to change his last name to Pete Brownburn. How about if they win the Super Bowl? That's going to be the bet.
Pete, along with Breech,
celebrity too.
Pete is Twitch celebrity.
Like he's got his own avatar with a sig.
I'm never on Twitch, and I watched Pete play video games once. That is how big of a celebrity.
When he broke Paul.
I'm not a regular watcher. I watched once, but that's one more time than I watch anyone else.
I bet on the Browns money line, not to brag. Look at this.
I got crushed this weekend. I don't even want to talk about it.
Me too. I was up huge coming to the weekend and lost it all back.
I was like, oh my God, I've had such a huge NFL season. I was so happy with myself.
But you know what's crazy is like I just bet on the wrong things. Like I'm gonna be 3-1-1 on the wild card weekend. Or I guess is that right? 3-1-1.
There's 6 games.
I'm a game here.
I'm going to be 0-5-1 against the spread.
4-1-1 against the spread.
Brinson 0-5-1.
Oh my God. Like I'm just not betting on the things that I pick. What is wrong with me?
The only bet I hit the whole weekend was Bills Colts over. Thanks, Bills and Colts. And I was going to bet this over, but I thought the Steelers were a lock.
Ooh, Steelers live are plus 10.5. That's minus 181. No wonder that's plus 10.5. Yeah, I had the Steelers. I bet the Steelers when the COVID news came out, and I didn't move it. Can we say that? Can we agree that Primanti Brothers is overrated?
That's everything about Pittsburgh. Is that recorded? Can we brush that? And I mean everything, like 90% of things.
How many Watt brothers will be in Pittsburgh next season playing over under 2.5?
All of them.
3. All of them.
They're gonna buy an apartment together, but like
JJ on a cheap deal because he just wants to play with his bros. And
what if they add JJ, but they cut Derek because they realize they don't need a fullback?
I think. Oh, you
You
can't.
remember we said the Steelers have to score fast.
You can't
First play, 2-yard pass.
Score quickly. You got to go. You got to get vertical and get up on these guys. Chase Claypool has to be a factor. Man,
Yeah.
I want this to be a sweat down towards the end. This has been a great playoff weekend.
Let's be real, though. They do have all 3 timeouts, as we said. So if they score after the 2-minute warning, that's fine. It's not like
it's fine.
Just ideally, you would like to score before that.
Yeah, it's going to be. It's still doable. If the Browns lose this game, I'm swimming to America. Don't do that. Kevin Keats. Kevin Keats says, "Hi, Will. I'm watching the Miami basketball game tape while I'm watching your stream. Working hard. Go Pack." Thank you, Coach Keats, for hanging out in the stream. Appreciate it. I didn't know you were a big Twitch guy. I'm assuming that's not really Kevin Keats, but if it is, thanks for watching, buddy. I feel like it's probably a troll, somebody making fun of my Pack went 0-3. Thankfully, Mitchell Trubisky lost. That way Carolina fans couldn't brag about that. All right. First down for the Browns there on 3rd and 4. Ben has just been a great look to James Conner on the backfield. He's been really sharp in the second half, and great job by Conner. Obviously, easy decision to get out of bounds. 3:25 on the clock when they snap it.
Oh, game over.
Oh!
That's 4 interceptions. Oh, my God.
Yeah, Ben, I just say Ben's looks sharp, and he throws that.
4 interceptions.
That's terrible. How does he not see that linebacker?
So now, is Ben's career over? Do you retire after this game? Can you look your teammates in the eye? I mean, this is a meltdown.
This is bad.
This is why you don't let your 38-year-old quarterback have the week off in week 17. Like, they get rusty. Lamar Jackson, he doesn't get rusty. Patrick Mahomes, you don't get rusty. When you're 38 years old and you rest for a week, like, you can't move your limbs.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to practice all week, but you still send him out there for a few snaps.
Play, but oh man, that was behind Ebron too. That's a terrible throw. Awful throw.
Wow. The Cleveland Browns are about to get their first playoff win since the 1994 season.
What having 2 Super Bowl wins does for you. Like Phillip Rivers played.
Oh my God.
No, Rivers would be getting annihilated for throwing a back-breaking pick 6 and 4 interceptions in a playoff game. Up, chop. Whoop. He's trying to get down.
Oh, they got him out of bounds.
Oh, don't get out of bounds.
That's not good.
I mean, if you get there's a little pathway here. You gotta get a stop and a Cody Parkey honk. The poor Browns, man. It's not fair. I'm glad they won. All right, so if the Browns hold here, we've got Browns at Chiefs, and the early line is Chiefs minus 7.5. So here's the question,
and that is the Sunday afternoon game on CBS.
That's right. Who is so? I'm the. I agree that Lamar got rusty and fat and happy. Charlie Combs says they were definitely convinced they were going to annihilate. Ooh, he was close to getting out of bounds. Oh, did he blow that out of bounds?
Timeout. I think Steelers call timeout. Here's the other thing is now, if you're the Browns, you run it up the middle because you want them to use another timeout, and you let Cody Parkey kick a field goal. And if Parkey hits it, it's game over. You're not scoring. It's impossible to score 3 times, or mostly impossible.
With 1 timeout and the 2 warning.
Right.
Yeah. I am drinking some Four Roses small batch, the tail end of a bottle here that's going to get finished during this podcast. Maybe before this football game ends. I'm trying to conserve it because I don't want to. I got some red wine here. I don't really want to switch back to red wine. I don't want to switch to red wine. So I'm trying to actually taking it fairly. I think this no beer thing is beneficial to me in the sense that like I'm going to like the moderation. You're like, I'm not going to be like, I'll crack a beer. And then all of a sudden you had 2 or 3 beers. Oh, first down. It's over.
No, it's 4th down.
I know. So first down, it would have been over.
Oh, yeah.
How are you so ahead of me? Incredible. All right. So second timeout call by Pittsburgh. Do you feel like there's a lot of pressure or no pressure on Cody Parkey here?
I feel like this is the best case situation. You send him out there for a field goal that like means something because it ices the game, but also there's not a lot of pressure because you're up 2 scores.
You're on Pittsburgh's 19. What
So
you don't
37.
want is a block box.
You do not.
A block box, and it's like everyone's freaking out again. All right, Cody Parkey.
It's good.
37-yard field goal is good. Browns are up 19 points.
Game over.
That should be it. That should take care of business here.
My goodness.
Cody Parkey. The old doinkster. So what did he end up with? Do you have a bunch of field goals today? Or just a bunch of extra points, I guess?
He had.
What a win for the Browns here.
This is amazing to watch them win their first playoff game in 26 years.
The last time they were in the playoffs, do you know who did we talk about this on the podcast yesterday? Who the coach was?
I think I do know. Do you know?
I know.
Does everyone listening know?
It's Butch Davis.
It was Eric K. He was on the show last night.
Oh, he said it. Oh, okay.
Bill Belichick.
All right, so the schedule for the divisional round is going to be Rams at Packers, 4:35 Eastern on Saturday. I think that's a better game than people think. 7-point spread there. Baltimore at Buffalo, 8:15 on Saturday night. That's a great game. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Narratives will be drawn and written, quartered, distributed across the land on that one. Sunday, 3:00, Browns at Chiefs, and 6:45, Buccaneers at Saints. Now, if he houses this, do we have a little bit of a game?
No.
Look at Jimmy Haslam. Oh, the deserving. Is that DePodesta? And Andrew Berry? DePodesta deserves to give everybody a big FU for dogging him.
Is there anyone in the world who predicted Browns 19-point win? I'm going to search Twitter. I want to know if that happened.
I mean, what would the alternate bet?
Oh, that would have paid off like probably 20-1 at least.
I bet 5-1.
They were 5.5 point. It was 3-1 just to take the money line.
Yeah, to win by 19. Oh yeah, you're right. I don't even know if it would be out there in William Hill. Yeah, you're right. 20-1 is probably right. So this last 245 is just all basically like DFS stat padding. And if you need overs, so Deontay Johnson is over his total. Juju Smith-Schuster is over his total. Oh my God, is Claypool not over his total yet?
You can't search Browns 19 on Twitter because all the tweets say Browns COVID-19.
I need 4 more yards from Chase Claypool very badly.
What did you get it at? Well, I marked it pregame at 48.5.
55.5 at the time.
Wow.
Yeah. Problematic.
If you're Ben here, do you just throw an interception on purpose to get the even 5, the nice round number?
You'd like to. I don't know what you do. I mean, I think you're still gunning for it. I guess at this point, obviously, an onside kick recovery, they can't take knee. Yeah, they can take knees because you only have one timeout left.
Or you go the Brian Flores style, like the Dolphins did against the Chiefs. You drive down to like the 35, kick a field goal real quick because you need 3 scores.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think they probably know the score here.
But with one timeout.
Game's over. I mean, you're going to need 2 onside kicks. Although I applaud them for actually giving a crap, unlike the Bears who punted down 21-3 in a playoff game. What are you doing?
Brinson, you're defending a Steelers team that punted on 4th and 1 from their own 47.
But you know, yeah, I know.
I know what you mean. I know.
I mean, like that punt was.
The Bears punted on the game.
Yeah, the Bears punted on the game. Just disgusting.
Do we really think this is Ben's last time in a Steelers uniform? We have to do that with all these.
Kevin Keats.
Yes, Kevin Keats on his Xbox.
Work on the game film, okay? Because didn't look very sharp in the second half against Miami. So maybe, yeah. I don't think he goes out like this. But he could.
Yeah, but do the Steelers kind of sit down and say, "Hey, look, man, I don't know if we want you back next year."
What's his
contract situation?
Yeah.
It's not good for the Steelers. I know that.
I think they almost have to keep him one more year.
Or ask him to retire so the contract goes off the books.
Yeah. No, but there'll still be dead money. Romo retired and Cowboys are paying him.
Oh, I guess unless they ask for the bonus money back, but they wouldn't if they asked him to retire.
Right.
That would be pretty weird.
If the Browns win the Super Bowl, everyone gets a Freddie Outhouse tattoo. I think we're done with tattoos.
I would get an outhouse tattoo, but it wouldn't have the word Freddie on it. At least I'd have an excuse if people asked why I got it.
I think we're playing out the tattoos so much. Wait, so last year's the last year of Ben's contract.
But how much money?
If he is cut pre-June 1st, let's see. If he's
22.25 dead cap.
Yeah.
And if the salary cap is $175 million, I don't think you're doing that.
You bring Ben back next year.
I guess it doesn't hurt. It's the final year of his deal. You play it out.
Yeah, I mean, you're sort of maybe make like one last run type of thing.
And the thing is, he looked older as the season got on. Like, it's what you expect from somebody besides Tom Brady, who's not human, because he looks like he's 30.
I mean, I think they need to get rid of Randy Fichtner. I don't think he's very good.
Who do they bring in?
I don't know. I mean, like, are you gonna blow up Ben's buddy? Who had a better season, Ben or Phil? I mean, I think Phil for sure, right?
They both lost in the wild card round, Brinson. And they both finished 11-5.
I mean, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty even, but I thought Phil played better than Ben.
If you swap the teams like we often like to do, what would their respective records be? I
think that Philip.
I think they both go 11-5 still.
So Phil was 68%, 4,200 yards, 24 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Oh, it's just a very different team. Can we get Claypool one freaking time, man?
It is 4th and 10. Just get the first down. You don't have to get a touchdown. I just want
more.
points.
Phil had substantially better stats. Oh, I guess he played one more game. Yeah, Ben had better touchdown interceptions. Whatever. I mean, pretty even seasons. Nothing that'll blow you away. Steelers won a lot with defense. Tried to run the ball, couldn't, so they dinked and dunk. Colts probably asked Phil to do too much at times. God, freaking hit Claypool. I
cannot imagine what it's like to be a Browns fan right now. I mean, they're probably everybody in Cleveland right now. They're tearing up. They didn't just win their first playoff game since '94. They did it against the Steelers. They may have ended Ben's career if he decides I can't do it anymore.
Is he running? Oh my God, please don't run.
Is that? Oh, he just threw a deep one.
Oh, he got it. What a catch. Nice job. Is that Juju? How about let's get some Ebron here.
And also very notable, Ben is at 494.
So you can't get there unless they get an onside kick.
67 pass attempts.
Oof. He might not have a choice. He might have to leave after this year.
Oh, there's a touchdown.
Claypool.
It's Claypool. Oh, it's Claypool. You got it.
Yes. Oh,
what might be the final Steelers offensive play of the game?
You love to see it. Yes. I love when a prop on a live stream. Let's go.
501 yards.
Won this game by so many points. I mean, is Juju going to be a Steeler? Absolutely. Juju Smith-Schuster is a Steeler next year. Juju 25.
The only 500-yard game in playoff history was Tom Brady's. He finished with exactly 500. Roethlisberger has 501, so I believe that is the new postseason record. So, but Brady lost, Roethlisberger lost.
Connor gets the 2-point conversion, and the Steelers are within 11. Just too little, too late.
So you kick the onside kick here. You run one play. You kick a field goal. 48-40. That's what you do.
So how did they to the fumble to the house? Did they house a they just gave him look at the starting position for the Browns. The Browns had the Steelers 46 and the Steelers 15 on 2 Big Ben interceptions, and they had a touchdown in the first quarter. That's all. That's it. You just can't let that happen.
The most passes ever attempted in an NFL game, not even just the playoffs, a regular season or postseason game, is 70, and Roethlisberger is at 68.
You ain't getting there.
Who had 70, Brinson?
Who had 7 was it, can you give me the year in the
90s?
Regular season or postseason?
Regular season.
It's 70. In the 90s.
I think I can give you. He was a number 1 overall pick.
Oh, okay, that's pretty.
And he actually was the losing quarterback the last time the Browns won a playoff game. What a way to come full circle here.
John Elway?
No. Who did Bill Belichick beat with the Browns?
Oh, is it Drew Bledsoe?
Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah, wow, that is full circle. Good job. Did the chat get that? I'm sure we have 55 people in the chat saying that. Yeah, there we go. Jameis is a good guess in the chat. Thomas.
Post-game pod will be live. Post-game pod will be live. We're going to talk a little early odds, and then Ryan Wilson, we think, will be joining us once he's cleared of his CBS Sports HQ duties.
Last night, my wife texted me and was like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "It's 1 o'clock." It was like 1:30 or 1:45. I was like, and I took a picture of there's like up in the corner. It says like live, like 2 hours and 30 minutes. She was like, "Is that you've been live for 2 hours and 30 minutes?" I was like, "Yeah, live, 2 hours, 30 minutes. Is there a problem?"
I started to lose my voice. I stopped talking because I had to save my voice for tonight. Already 45 minutes. I don't talk. I hang out with a baby and my wife. So there's not a lot of we're not talking nonstop. The baby doesn't have much to say.
The only time, see it, Keats is out of here. The only time I really lose my voice is when I go out big the night before and I'm yelling at like a bar.
You mean like every time we go to the Super Bowl?
Yeah. And I like this talking in a podcast in the Super Bowl. Wow, what a cover for Chase Claypool. That is quite lovely. Claypool had a big game. 5 catches, 59 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, these receivers had a huge game, and it just didn't matter. Man, that is something else. So.
Oh, and Brady, I had the stat. So the Patriots threw for 500 yards. I had the team stat, but Brady took a 5-yard sack. So his actual total was 505. So the Patriots team total is 500. The passing total. So Steelers have the passing total as a team, but Brady still has the individual record. If that makes sense to people.
It does make sense.
Sacks take off the team passing yardage, but not the individual players.
48-37. Browns beat the Steelers. I got to tell you, it's interesting. There's like 2 situations where some demons were really exercised this year. Yeah, the Browns beat the Steelers to get in the playoffs, then knocked the Steelers out of the playoffs. And they didn't win the division or anything, but the Browns are here. You feel like they're here. That's legitimate. And then you also have the Bills win the division. Oh, Big Ben. Sad Big Ben. The first Super Bowl I ever covered. Well, maybe we have to talk about it, but Ben was crying in the shower for a long time.
I mean, that's a good time to talk about it.
He shaved his beard to avoid talking to the media.
What if he actually? What if he actually just didn't? He saw you. He's like, I don't want to talk to that guy.
But this is a little reminiscent of the Jaguars playoff loss to the Steelers had in 2017. There's no chance they fire Mike Tomlin, right? Right?
I mean, see, you talk to Steelers fans, and that's why I wish Wilson was here, because Steelers fans definitely have that Tomlin loses inexplicable games. Like, obviously, that Jacksonville playoff game a couple years ago, lost to the Bengals on Monday night. If you win that game, maybe you end up as the 2 seed. You're not even playing the Browns. You're playing a Colts team that you probably maybe lose to, and we could ultimately settle a debate of who's better out of Ben and Rivers. But, there's just those insanely bad losses that mar Tomlin's every year. They happen every single year. Yeah. There's 1 or 2. So it really is. I do understand why Steelers fans get frustrated with him, but I do not think you can fire him because he'll get snatched up. Or, if you want to get rid of him, call Jacksonville or call the Jets and be like, hey, toss us a 1st-round pick. We'll give you Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if you're the Steelers, you could absolutely get compensation for him.
I'm trying to find his playoff. How are you not? Let's see. So, he's got the man. He's
got 2 Super Bowl appearances, which he's living off of. Which makes sense because it's
the Super Bowl championship. His 2nd year. And then he went to the Super Bowl and lost. I mean, that was my first year at CBS and lost to the Packers. And then has been to the playoffs 5 times since then. Now with 4 one-and-dones. Despite being 12-4, 11-5, 13-3, and 12-4.
He's 8-8 overall in the playoffs, but that means he's also 3-6 in his last 9.
You could make an argument if you were so inclined that since the full transition of whatever Bill Cowher built in Pittsburgh departed, that maybe they haven't closed with the same.
I think you could say in their last 3 playoff losses, they've given up 48 to Cleveland, 45 to Jacksonville, and 36 to New England. And Tomlin's a defensive guy. Steelers are known for their defense, and you're just getting railroaded.
I don't think you can't fire Tomlin. I mean,
No. I don't think you can. But again, that's why we need the Wilson perspective, because I do think there is frustration from Steelers fans in the way he coaches.
Okay, so we got Scoregami there. Goalie Lax 99 says that's nice. You love some Scoregami. All right, let's why don't we talk some early odds then? We'll do the NFC first. Are they up at William Hill, Debo? And would you like me to?
Let's do Rams, Packers. Packers enter as 7-point favorites. The total at 46.5 right now.
Well, you know what, Debo? What we should do? We say Rams, Packers.
Rams, Packers.
What we should do is, if I'm good at this, I'd be able to share my screen immediately. And we would say, let's throw those odds up there so that way people can see them. Obviously, there are no props, but we'll at least get some run for William Hill. There we go. All right, so Packers -7 against the Rams at home. Over under 46.5. The over under is ticked up, which is a little bit surprising. My immediate gut reaction to this game, Breech, is that the Rams are a good bet at +7. And the reason is that the way the Packers work on offense, where they want to run and just funnel everything through Devontae Adams. And now this assumes a very completely healthy Aaron Donald, is that because they have Jalen Ramsey and the way that Brandon Staley runs that defense, where he's going to shift numbers towards ensuring that they don't get torched, I think they can probably do a little bit of damage control on Jalen Ramsey. On Devontae Adams and Jalen Ramsey. And if they do that, again, you're going to set Aaron Donald. I can't talk. Aaron Donald in motion after Aaron Rodgers, and that should be concerning. Your thoughts?
I agree. Well, now let me just throw out the fact that I went 5-1 picking against the spread this wild card weekend. I'll say 1-5 because the Washington point spread moved up to 10, and I said they would lose by 8 or less. That's the point spread we picked at CBS. But anyway, so I'm going to give myself 1-5, even though it's 5-1. But Brinson, I do absolutely agree with you there. And this kind of reminds me of the Washington game with the Buccaneers. We thought, and just from the defensive standpoint, where you thought Washington could hang in there because their defensive front is so strong. The Rams are that, except on steroids. I mean, Aaron Donald, if he's 100% in this game, you start having Aaron Rodgers running for his life. And you know what he loves to do when he's running for his life? He loves to throw it to Devontae Adams. And as you said, if you have Jalen Ramsey sticking like glue to Devontae Adams, that really messes up what the Packers can do. I mean, you look at the Packers schedule and the games where they had trouble in that Buccaneers game where Rodgers got in trouble a couple times. He threw the pick six and you start to fluster him. And, we've talked about it earlier. If you get in Aaron Rodgers' head, or if he starts to get frustrated, the Packers offense falls off a cliff. I mean, it just starts looking bad. And so I think the Rams covered. I think you could say maybe they pull off the upset if they had a capable quarterback, but I don't think they have that.
Yeah, I don't know that they have that either. And that's concerning. I do think there's a little bit of a chance that this could turn into, I think you sort of needed to turn into what the Browns-Steelers game turned into, which is you come in on the road, flip the script early, get a turnover, house something, or maybe Cam Akers looked awesome against the Seahawks. Maybe he jailbreaks one, maybe you strip sack Aaron Rodgers, something like that. That's what you need. I think if you're backing the Rams, you probably have to look under. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure where I am on that corollary quite yet. If I'm betting on this game, I think it's more likely to. I think it sits at 7 all week long. I don't think it moves off 7. I don't think it'll get to 6.5 because the books don't want to give that to the Packers. People who are backing the Packers. I don't think it'll get to 7.5 because they sure as heck don't want to give that to the people who want to back the Rams. I think it's more likely to go to 6.5 than 7.5.
Yeah, and I think you look at the Packers' 3 losses where, they lost that crazy game to the Colts 34-31 in overtime. That's not going to happen because I don't think Jared Goff or John Wolford, whoever ends up starting that game, I don't think the Rams are going to have the firepower to put up 34 points because the Packers' defense is a little bit better than what the Seahawks had. And the Rams are familiar with the Seahawks personnel, so they just play them better. And then you have, they lost that game to the Buccaneers, where I think that is where you kind of have to identify and say, hey, we can maybe replicate that because Tom Brady's good, but Jared Goff, you could say, is a very, 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 very poor man's Tom Brady, where he's going to sit back in the pocket, he's going to throw the ball, and then you got to hope and pray that your defense can hold Aaron Rodgers and slow him down. And one interesting thing here is that Sean McVay, he's going to absolutely know anything that Matt LaFleur might pull out of his hat because remember, these guys are very familiar with each other. LaFleur was McVay's offensive coordinator during his first year with the Rams in 2017. They were both on Washington's coaching staff when Washington went to the playoffs in 2012. So these guys are very, very, very familiar with each other. So LaFleur's not going to be able to pull out these crazy offensive plays. But the same with McVay. They love to put people in motion to get the matchups they want. LaFleur's going to be ready for that. So this is going to be interesting to watch from that dynamic.
Yeah, I agree with that. And McVay, do we have a number on McVay playing against his old guys he's worked with before? Because we have Kyle Shanahan dominates him. I'm not sure we do, but we'll have to look that up. All right. Should we move to the next game, D-Bad?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Do we have any word from Ryan Wilson on where he is as he cries into his cereal?
He is live right now somewhere else, but stick around. He'll be here shortly.
Okay.
We promise.
Yeah, and Shanahan, like Brinson just said, has won 4 in a row against McVay.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how McVay has done against guys. I guess he doesn't really have a coaching tree per se, just like friends who are in coaching. So Baltimore at Buffalo. What a game. Is which game's on CBS? Is it
Kansas City, Cleveland.
That's okay. That's a good game. What channel is Baltimore Buffalo on?
Not CBS. It is on NBC.
Do we have 2 Fox, 1 CBS, and 1
NBC?
Okay.
ESPN, ABC drops out in the divisional round. They get 1 wild card game.
Right. Yeah. No, I knew that. I was just wondering which. Okay, so this game's on NBC. Man, that's a good. Yeah, because that's right. Sunday Night Football with Al and Chris. I don't even care. I mean, whatever. It's not on CBS. We'd prefer it to be there, but this is a good Sunday night game. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, both drafted in the first round. Of course, Josh Allen taken earlier. Lamar Jackson, the Ravens trade back in to grab him. The Baltimore Ravens are 3-point dogs in this game. Buffalo -3 plus 105. It looks like that line is going to come down. So if you want the 3, you should probably take it now. Over under 50. What's your first gut reaction to this line, Breech?
My gut reaction is definitely over. But I think right now, I just like the way the Bills are playing. Obviously the Ravens won. They beat the Titans. And Lamar had a great game. But for the numbers he put up, it felt like the Ravens should have scored like 40 points. And they only ended up scoring 20. And the Titans were totally in it to them. But the Bills have just been dominant at home. I think they went 7-1 in Buffalo. They've got a great home field advantage. And it's all about if the Bills defense is smart and can contain Lamar. Everybody has their assignments. That's Belichick's do your job. That's what you have to do when you're playing Lamar Jackson. And if the Bills can slow him down, I think they'll be fine. And you know what? Even if they can't, I think the Bills can win in a shootout because Josh Allen's been so good. So this is one where I like Buffalo all the way.
Really? See, I like the Ravens here. I think the Ravens are just getting hot, and I don't think Buffalo's defense is that great. I think a good offensive game plan, you can take them apart. Now, Tre'Davious White, awesome corner. They got great linebackers. That's a bit of a concern because if you use those linebackers and you can take away the middle of the field and you can, mitigate what Mark Andrews does. I don't know if Tre'Davious White's the perfect cornerback to cover Marquise Brown, who, by the way, is playing really well. Hit the over, is over, easily hit.
I would say one thing real quick, Brinson. You said the Ravens are getting hot. They have the second longest winning streak in the NFL right now. You know who's ahead of them?
Probably the Bills.
The Bills.
Yeah, but I mean, the Bills have been hot. The Ravens are getting hot. The Bills would be on a 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 game win streak not for the Kyler Murray Hail Mary, which feels like 42 years ago.
It really does.
Yeah. And look, it's entirely possible that Josh Allen was worried about the narrative that would crop up if he lost that game because he was nervous against the Colts, I thought, early on. And it's very possible that he comes out just guns blazing at home, isn't worried about this Baltimore defense, although they're very opportunistic. They will jump man, I don't know. This is a really good matchup. It's a fun matchup. I'll take the Bills. I'll take the Ravens and the points. But I also think this is one of those where if Baltimore gets down double digits, actually, I don't know. I don't know that Buffalo snuffs anybody out if Baltimore's down double digits because I don't think Buffalo's necessarily a very good run team. They're not going to pound the ball. If the Ravens can, it's going to be an awesome game. I mean, I'm excited for this game. But
I'm excited that either Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills or Lamar Jackson is going to be in the AFC title game. Like, that's all I can think about. Like, I don't even care who wins this game because the idea of either one of those teams being the AFC championship is awesome. I'm
a little actually upset because now I have to root for the Browns against the Chiefs. I want Mahomes, Josh Allen, or Mahomes, Lamar Jackson in the AFC championship game. I don't want to have to root for the Browns to win this game, but I want my own take to look like it was intelligent. So getting one of those matchups, Mahomes against one of those teams, is freaking great. Mahomes against the Bills would be a shootout. I think Mahomes against Lamar would be a fun shootout. And as you pointed out so many times, Breech, the Ravens have struggled to overcome the Chiefs as an opponent. And it has a very Detroit Pistons, Chicago Bulls.
But they struggled to overcome the Titans as an opponent, and they did that on Sunday.
I think this Ravens team is a little different. Lamar didn't play. Do people think he played that well or didn't play that well? People were mad at him, I guess. I thought he threw the ball okay.
Lamar did what they expected, but it was the Ravens defense shutting down Derrick Henry that was the difference. And there's no one like that in Buffalo that you can shut down. It's you either stop Josh Allen or the Bills are putting up 34 points and you have to outscore them.
Yeah, that's true. Although I do think, now I'll say this, and I've been saying it for a couple of weeks now, you can run on the Bills. If you can power the Bills up the middle, you can run on them. So if Baltimore could get a lead here, I think that they could get downhill on Buffalo's defense, run the ball effectively with Lamar Jackson, J.K. Dobbins, and we could see a situation where the Bills are sort of forced to press and try to come back, and that could cause Josh Allen to make some mistakes, and then Baltimore could run away with it. So I'm taking Baltimore. I want the 3 points. I think it'll be a close game. I don't think either team gets blown out here necessarily, but I think Buffalo's Buffalo's not getting blown out, not with Josh Allen. I think I want to look towards the over. I have a hard time taking the under in this spot, but what we just saw 20-13 with the Ravens and the Titans, I don't know.
And for the Ravens, 4 of their 5 losses were by 6 points or less. And their only loss by double digits was to the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Bills' second biggest loss was to the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the Ravens is when you look at their schedule, I mean, they lost in week 3 to the Chiefs. They lost in week 8 to the Steelers. Week 10 to the Patriots in that weird monsoon game. Overtime to the Titans. Steelers again in week 12, and that's it.
The Patriots loss was pretty ugly.
I'll give you that.
You can't lose the Patriots.
Belichick at home.
I guess.
They had one bad loss. They had one loss to a non-playoff team, just like the Bills. I don't know. I mean, I think these teams. This can be a fun game. I don't think you can definitively know how this game plays out. I think it's going to depend on how Josh Allen and how Lamar Jackson show up. You know,
if we're ranking the games, this is probably the one I'm most excited about.
Yeah, this is a killer close to the divisional round with the best weekend in football. I mean, just four great games. All right, let's move on to the next one. Of course, we don't have any props on these. But we'll look at those as the week goes along. Whoa, Bama is it to 8.5 now? I got it at 7. You'd love to see it. Nice to maybe I can win some money tomorrow that I can lose back over the rest of the week.
Every Browns fan just won money betting the Cleveland money line, and they're going to put it all on Ohio State tomorrow.
That's right. Wow. So we said that was 7 for the 7.5 for the Chiefs, 10 and minus 115.
Wow.
The Chiefs are shooting up into double digits. I don't know that I can take the Browns here. They were awesome against the Steelers. Great story, great win. The Chiefs are not going to do that, what the Steelers did in that first half. And if they do, I don't think they're going to give up 28 points in the first half regardless. Like that's the most points ever scored in the first quarter of a playoff game in NFL history by the Browns. 28. That's not going to happen next week. Let's say they get 14 in the first quarter. The Chiefs are coming against that defense the way they played tonight. The Chiefs are going to score 50 points if they need to.
Brinson, you know what's funny about you saying they won't do that? They basically did that in the divisional round last year against the Texans because they fell behind 24-0, and they made all the classic Steelers mistakes.
Covering in half. They
had a fumbled punt return, or a muffed punt. There was just craziness that the Texans had like a 54-yard touchdown, just absolute nutty stuff. There was a blocked punt return for a touchdown. All of a sudden, Chiefs were down 24-0. But again, we were all watching that game thinking, the Chiefs are going to come back. This isn't a big deal. And Big Ben was old. We didn't think he was going to come back against the Browns. And so if you don't get those breaks and you're the Browns, I'm not sure how they can slow down the Chiefs offense. I mean, we saw the Browns secondary. It's their weakest point. We were talking about Denzel Ward. He might play, might not play. We don't know. But I think Patrick Mahomes is just going to have a huge day.
Here's a fun fact for you. Is this Eric Kuselius guy the famous EK? He's more famous than EK, Nathan, but EK is Eric K, who we talk about on the podcast a bunch. He was on the podcast. He was on the Twitch stream last night, sweating out the Redskins all year long, and I did it now. Oh my god!
Brinson owes everyone in the chat stream $1. Ask him to Venmo you.
Sweating out the Washington football game. By the way, Breech, without looking, who is the oldest quarterback remaining in the AFC?
The oldest?
Yes.
Is it Mahomes?
Baker Mayfield.
It's Baker? 24?
That's insane. And on the other side, you have Brady, Breeze, Rodgers, and whoever the hell's coming out for
and maybe Jared Goff or John Wolford.
Yeah.
That's 3 guys over 38. Drew Brees has a birthday, I think, this week.
Thursday. He turns 42, I think.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's wild. By the way, the updated draft order. Washington football team 19, Bears 20, Colts 21, Titans 22, Jets 23 via the Seahawks, and Steelers 24. So Browns, Chiefs. You're thinking Chiefs, right?
Here is what I was going to ask you, because I think we are both totally leaning Chiefs, and this point spread keeps shooting up. At what point would you not take the Chiefs? How high would it have to go?
That's what I was going to ask you, and I think the answer is probably 14.
I was going to say 14. I think anything over that, because the Browns are like plucky, and those you don't want to bet against plucky teams, especially when it feels like they have kind of the juju working in their favor of they haven't been to the playoffs since 2002. They haven't won a playoff game since 1994. They just keep knocking these monkeys off their back. And the next one is they haven't been to an AFC championship game since I think 1987, something like that. So it's crazy. But, when you're on a roll like this, your head coach has COVID, is in his basement, and you're beating teams 48-37. I mean, this is, you can't count them out. So I think 14 is the max.
Yeah. And I don't even know. 10 is fine. When you start to get to like 12, that's a lot of points. You'd almost rather, but the problem is you can't bet live, because if the Chiefs get the ball first, they're going to score immediately. I just don't see how how Cleveland, and look, again, Cleveland was awesome against the Steelers. I can't stress enough. They were great. They played their tails off. I don't see how Cleveland slows down Kansas City. We saw what Big Ben did the second half to him. You think Andy Reid's not looking at that and licking his chops and thinking we can do whatever we want in the pass game?
And and Brinson, we have Andy Reid off the bye. Andy Reid off the bye. Like, come on. He's been studying both these opponents. He's been ready for both of them. And real shout out to Pat Norris, who has corrected me. The Browns' last AFC title was 1989, not 1987, like I said.
So there you go. Over under 56. I actually think I would lean towards the under here because my opinion of this game is that that Kansas City gets out to a big lead off the bye. Remember, they didn't have a bye last year coming to the playoffs. Oh, no, they did have a bye because they have to two. You come off the bye. Maybe they start slow. I don't know. But I think that they will score and then run the ball against Cleveland, and you're forcing Baker Mayfield to throw, and that could result in some opportunistic situations. Like if Baker has to just drop back and throw the ball 50 times, this is a 25-point win for the Chiefs. So I would be a little worried about seeing how many points that Baker would actually score. I guess the implied total here is 46, 20, Browns 20. Am I doing that math right? Browns 23, 33-23. Yeah, that's right. 33-23 is what they're saying the final score would be. Did the Browns score more than 3 touchdowns against the Chiefs?
Ooh, yes.
Okay.
Because I think at minimum you get a garbage time touchdown.
Okay. I'm fine with that. If Denzel Ward is back and Pierre Devis is asking that in the chat, yeah. You know what? Actually, no. I can't take the Chiefs, can I? I got to take the Browns. If I'm saying in the middle of the season the Browns can keep it close, don't I have to take the Browns?
If what?
Don't I have to take the Browns?
You don't have to.
Yeah. If Ward's back, that's a big deal. The Chiefs have won 7 straight games by 6 points or less.
That's true.
Games by 7 points or less, whatever it is. Maybe the Browns get
and they have fallen behind by double digits in every playoff game they played last year.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't believe I'm talking myself into taking the Browns plus 10.
This is a classic Brinson move.
10 is a bit much.
I've seen this happen before.
Yeah, it doesn't work out very well. No Conklin is a problem. I agree with that from living in the sky on Twitch. No Conklin. They need Conklin and Denzel Ward. I mean, that's one of those where when you talk about these injuries, those things matter. By the way, when we saw that the line did move for the Steelers from 5, I've never seen Nathan Graber McCray. I've never seen anyone more ready to drive 5 hours home than Ryan Wilson right now. What's he look like on HQ, Diva? I don't have it up.
Neither do I.
He's probably snorting coffee grounds, just trying to survive. Poor guy.
Let's see. Let's bring it. Was he still talking about this? If I'm Wilson, I'm just like, look, I'm not doing this. I'm staying home.
If I'm Wilson, I'm saying, look, guys, I'm off till September when football season starts again. I don't want to talk about football. My Steelers got pounded.
Oh, my God. He looks like he wants to get out of there.
Poor Wilson.
Will he try to
swaying at the desk?
Will he try to extend the podcast and like vent his Steelers frustrations, or will he try to move through it really quickly tonight and just get out of here?
Or will he try to get the pity, ask us to let him out of the Ryan Finley tattoo?
That's not happening.
Guys, my team lost so badly. Like, could you cut me some slack?
Can we get like should we share my screen with Wilson on here? Like, look at I want to see. Oh man, he looks like he's just like, what am I doing? Why am I sitting at this desk? All right, anyway, I don't know why I'm listening to Kenny White talk about these odds. Yes, I'm thinking like if you got to correlate those, like if you like the Browns, then the game's probably going over. You know what I mean? Because if the Browns are keeping it close, I think these two teams are scoring enough where the Browns are matching the Chiefs' points. And it's just harder for me to imagine a situation where the Chiefs aren't finding wide open guys running against the Browns secondary. I mean, Andy Reid is not going to call plays in the way that Randy Fichtner did in the first half of that game. So I would lean towards the I mean, I don't know. If you want to bet the Browns, wait on it. If you want to bet the Chiefs, you probably need to bet on it now.
The Chiefs scored their lowest scoring total of the year was 17. So, and that was against the Falcons, where it kind of felt like they fell asleep at the wheel. Kind of surprised them. And then if you don't count divisional games, because divisional teams kind of know you better, they know how to play you better, they're familiar with you. Their lowest scoring total outside the division was 26.
So we're getting 35 from the Chiefs in this game.
They had 9 games with 32 points or more.
We're getting
9 out of 16. I think so. I think the Chiefs are hitting 30 easy.
I mean, they went 51, 35, 31 last year in their playoff games. Yeah, I think we're getting that. Okay. Last one. Is that the last one?
What do we got? Another game coming up? It's our fourth game?
A good question, by the way, from in the Twitch chat. From MD York. Before we get to that next game, who would you take in a 2018 redraft? That is a spicy question. So the obvious answer, of course, Josh Rosen.
Obviously. Who would we take second, right?
I think it's basically, are you taking Lamar or Josh Allen? And I'm probably taking Josh Allen.
I think I'm taking Josh Allen too.
I think Josh Allen 1, Lamar 2, Baker 3,
Darnold
4, and then was there any other quarterbacks taken that you could take before Josh Rosen?
I'm sure there's a couple second or third round guys.
Right? Mason Rudolph.
Rudolph, the Trapasso special. That's right. Our boy Chris Trapasso, very high on Mason Rudolph, of course.
Don't forget about Danny Etling.
Danny Etling wasn't terrible.
Logan Woodside, the Bengals took him. I remember that.
Would you take Josh Rosen or Michael Dixon? Kyle Lauletta?
Hey, shout out Kyle Lauletta.
Luke Falk might be. Would you take Luke Falk or Josh Rosen?
Stop.
Probably Josh Rosen.
Yeah, I'd give Rosen another shot. I'm still not completely out on Josh Rosen. I think
Rosen's going to have a moment.
I agree with that. I think Rosen shows back up at some point. Ooh, does Quentin Nelson go above any of the quarterbacks in the 2018 redraft? That's a great question too from Cujo Soccer on Twitter. So if we look at it, it's Baker, Saquon. Quentin Nelson's going above. If you're redrafting the draft, the Browns are taking Josh Allen, and the Giants. I don't know that the Giants are actually taking Lamar Jackson because that's not something Dave Gettleman would do. Do the Browns? I mean, the Browns are taking Josh Allen, right?
Yes.
I don't think Dave Gettleman would take Lamar Jackson, even knowing what he knows now. I just don't think he would do it. That doesn't seem like a Dave Gettleman thing. He might still take Saquon Barkley. No, he would take Quentin Nelson. If this were the actual draft and we knew everything we know about these guys, Dave Gettleman would still take Quentin Nelson over Lamar Jackson. I know that's a hot take, but he would do it.
Thanks for Saquon, though.
No, Saquon's going like 32nd.
Good. Lower.
So 2 would be Quentin Nelson. Then the Jets would take Lamar Jackson. Then the Browns with their second pick. Oh, now this is where it gets interesting. Would the Browns take? I think you're deciding between. Ooh, they won't get Nick Chubb in the second round. Is it Darius Leonard? It's either Darius Leonard, Denzel Ward, or Bradley Derwin James, maybe.
Wait, at number 4.
Who's that?
Are you talking about the 4th overall pick?
4th overall pick. They've already taken Josh Allen 1.
It's tough.
That's tough. There's a good case. You might take Fred Warner.
I don't know. I think you take Darius Leonard. Is he still on the board?
Yeah, he's on the board. So Darius Leonard to the Browns there at 4. Denzel Ward's been awesome though. The Broncos at 5, I think would have to take Baker Mayfield
because they need a quarterback.
Yeah. Josh Allen famously dislikes the Browns and John Elway because they passed on him. And I think that, I could see John Elway talking himself into Baker Mayfield, although he likes tall quarterbacks.
Or the Broncos stick with Bradley Chubb.
Maybe.
Because Elway doesn't do. He doesn't draft good quarterbacks. And if you think Baker's a quarterback, he would have passed up on him.
I can't see him taking a short quarterback. I think he knows what he knows about Baker now. I think he would take Baker.
Baker falls to the Bills.
Okay. Baker to the Bills. So Baker and Josh Allen.
7.
Okay. Then the Bears at 8. Probably go Denzel Ward or Derwin James or Jair Alexander. Maybe Jair Alexander over Denzel Ward.
Who knew this was going to turn into a 2018 redraft?
No, we're waiting on Wilson to show up. Oh, Wilson, did he chat us and say he's coming?
Well, we still got the Buccaneers Saints game.
I know. I'm just trying to kill time. He's heading up. All right, let's go to the Buccaneers Saints game. Okay. What is a Twitch chat? Twitch chat. Sound like a bad word. Fred Warner, Minka Fitzpatrick. You're definitely taking Quentin Nelson over Sam Darnold. Unquestionably right now. What you know right now. I think that Sam Darnold can still be good, but you are taking Quentin Nelson over Sam Darnold right now. Okay, so Saints -3 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, over under 51.5. Breech. Do you think that the Bucs can figure out a way to not go 0-3 against the Saints this year?
I do not think they will figure it out. Look, it doesn't happen often where you have a team that sweeps a team and then plays them again in the postseason, because obviously if you lose twice, that means you had to be really good in your other games to even get to the playoffs. And the last 10, 13 times it's happened, the team that swept the team that went 2-0, won the third game 10 out of 13 times.
Right. The team that swept the team won the game 10 out of 13
so
times?
the Saints, that would favor the Saints. So the team that went 2-0 in the regular season is, and I think the last time it happened was 2017 with the Saints and Panthers. Does that sound right?
So in other words, the notion that it's hard to beat a team 3 times in 1 year is false.
That's what it sounds like. I think that just became a notion because it probably.
I think people just like to say that. Like it's like defense wins championships, or it's like it's hard to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. Like, is it? I mean, if you beat them twice, you're probably match up pretty well against them. I can't take the Bucs here. I think it moves. I mean, you see how it's juiced. I think it moves towards the Saints. I wouldn't be surprised if people gobbled up the 3.5s if those popped up there. So it's possible it just sits at 3 as well. I would look under here, I think, more than anything. We saw the Saints, and the Saints could have easily scored 28 in that game. The Buccaneers can obviously pass the ball a lot better than Chicago can. And the offense is starting to click a little bit, but Brady sucked against good defenses, and he wasn't very good against Washington for much of that game.
Here's a fun fact real quick. In 1999, Jacksonville went 14-2. Their only 2 losses were to the Tennessee Titans. And then they played the Tennessee Titans in the playoffs. And you're thinking, Jacksonville won 14 games. There's no way all 3 of their losses in 1 year are going to come to the same team. And then they lost to the Titans in the playoffs. So I agree. I don't see how you can take the Buccaneers here when the Saints just kind of, it just seemed like Sean Payton was always one step ahead of whatever Bruce Arians was going to do on defense. I mean, these games weren't particularly close.
No, they're blowouts.
I mean, the opener, you cut the Buccaneers a little bit of slack because it's Brady's first game. There's no offseason. You don't know how they're going to look. He's still getting to know the offense. So I don't think any of us expected the Buccaneers to win that game. But then the second one, that was a Sunday night game in Tampa Bay. That's 38-3.
It was a blowout.
It wasn't like everybody melted down. And so just the fact that the Saints put up points so easily, I mean, over 30 both times. I don't know. I like the Saints.
Fins fan 82 says one of my favorite oddities, the 3 losses for the 99 Jags. I love the 99 Jags. You know who else loved the 99 Jags? Pete Prisco.
Pete loves everything about Jacksonville. He should just move there. Why
I think he read a book about the 99 Jags. So all the losses were to the Titans.
Was that the name of the book? Tighten Up.
He co-wrote that, right? Co-wrote.
Yeah. Well, he worked with John Osher on it. Wait, why is Wilson still on the television? I thought he was coming up here. Let me see. What's the Thanksgiving? I went to a Jags game. It might have been that Ravens game, Sunday, November 28th. Would that have been Thanksgiving weekend?
It sounds like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Like Thanksgiving.
Well, we used to drive down to Jacksonville for Thanksgiving every year. And my grandfather Oh my God. Gotta take a picture of this. Hold on. That's a good job, dude. Send that to Pete. Does Pete even work at CBS anymore? No. We replaced him with Scott Pioli. Let's see. I'm gonna send that to Pete real quick.
When's Pete making his
Twitch
Twitch?
review? Let's see. Jamie.
And remember, I got my bartender's guide. I'm going to pick a drink out for each Twitch cast for the postseason.
Ooh, I like it. What?
How do you feel about the zombie? Can you get your hands on some light Puerto Rican rum, some Jamaican rum, some 151 proof Demerara rum? Oh, wow. I don't know that we could drink that on air.
151 proof rum?
Yeah, we wouldn't make it to 2 drinks. This Twitch would end pretty quickly.
I don't think that's a good idea.
But I'll email you the recipe for next week's Twitch.
Okay.
No 151 though.
For those that don't know, Breech makes really weird drinks.
They're delicious though. I'm the family bartender, so anytime I hang out with my family, they expect me. So like, I have 2 older sisters, and when we're all get together, one of them like supplies the dinner or the meal or whatever meal we're meeting up for. One supplies the dessert, and they just text me and they're like, "You're bringing alcohol, right?" I'm the alcohol guy in my family, so I got to have the drinks. I got to have the alcohol. That's what I have to come through for. And I have a lot of family members that are over 21. So there's a lot of people you have to supply for. And the easiest way to do that is just make a picture of something crazy that they've never had, like a zombie drink with 151.
Yeah, that's I mean, my brother and I are the beer guys for, like we're supposed to bring all the beer for Thanksgiving and Christmas. My mom's like, "Can you just bring the beer?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure." Yes, we did. I did see Sean Payton getting slimed. That was awesome. Did you see that, Breech?
What's that?
Sean Payton gets slimed?
You know what? I was so happy. How much did you this Nickelodeon game did you watch? I'm sure we'll talk about it. I mean, I watched way more of it than I thought I would.
The only reason I didn't watch more is that I had Justin Thomas outright in the golf, and that was finishing up and went to a playoff, and he didn't win. But also the Nick game was on. I had to stream it, and I can just watch I could watch the CBS antenna, and it was kind of messing me up to have the sound on Nick, but I thought it was really cool.
I did know that, and a lot of people were up in Slack, or the work office, that Sean Payton is wearing $100 shoes, or like expensive shoes.
Really nice Jordans, right?
Yeah, like you got to take them off, and you're about to get slimed. I know if you're making $12 million a year, you just buy a new pair tomorrow morning, but you don't wear those when you get slimed. That's sliming etiquette. Everyone knows sliming.
Were they that nice?
They looked like it.
They're just like Jordan Air ones or whatever. Air Max ones, Jordans.
If I'm ever an NFL coach, I'm going to buy the most expensive pair of shoes I can find and then just get slimed.
Sean Payton is sponsored by Jordan. That's probably right. Yeah, I think he's got I don't think Sean Payton's sweating his shoes. Like he's getting slimed to like promote it. Like he wants his team to yeah, I agree. Super Bowl should be on Nick. That was fun. It was pretty wild because you're thinking about all these different things that are being explained to the kids and fans. And it's like, football is so stupid,
And then I know you heard it because you tweeted it out, but when that F-bomb dropped on Nickelodeon,
my Robbie, my son, came up to the office and was asking me. I was like, "Buddy, do you want to watch?" Oh, here he is. Are we done with the Saints and Rams? Should we get rid of that? Or Saints and Bucks?
What we both took the Saints, right?
Yeah, I think we're taking the Saints.
So we agreed on 3 of 4, except you took Baltimore and I took Buffalo.
Yeah, and I'm sort of leaning towards Cleveland.
Oh yeah, you talked yourself into Cleveland after running around circles.
Speaking of Cleveland, Ryan Wilson, everybody. What's up, Wilson?
Hello.
How are you?
I think when I realized it's too late that I wore a Browns colored tie.
Oh my goodness gracious. Those are actual Browns colors.
I literally thought about taking it off at halftime, but I don't know what I would have to have taken off to keep Mike Tomlin from punting in the fourth quarter. So it may not have mattered.
All right, Ryan, Nathan wants to know, are you still in effing Connecticut?
Yes, I am.
Let's start this pod. Let's not wait. Let's bottle all Wilson's energy right now.
All right. Before we do that, can I get some ice? Is that cool?
Oh God.
I'm just gonna get some ice. We don't want to leave you hanging here.
Ryan, did you get to catch any of the Nickelodeon game while you were in the office?
We had it on the television on mute. We listened to Nance and Romo on the regular broadcast, but I saw the graphics. Someone, Debo, the producer, Rob Arciero, asked me after Breech tweeted about the slime end zone graphics. And Breech tweeted in such a way that it wasn't clear to Rob whether Breech thought it was really happening on the field. He said, does Breech believe that there's really slime? I said, no. Breech acts like an idiot, but he's actually not an idiot.
Oh, my God. Oh, Wilson. You know what's hilarious about that? Now I got to find this tweet. Someone literally tweeted me, and they're like, that's fake slime, right?
There you go.
Or that? No. I tweeted, Will Lutz missed the field goal. And I was like, well, no wonder he misses. The first time all season he's had to deal with Spongebob Squarepants in the uprights. And somebody literally tweeted, no, he can't see that. It's only on TV. And I didn't respond because I was like, I know. I know it's only on TV.
They did a good job of explaining, but like Brinson said, even like the stuff that you don't realize when you say like they're dropping 3 or coming off the edge, like those things like that kids would just never know. So they did a really good job. We'll see if they do it in the future.
So did Iron Eagle's son sound like Iron Eagle? Because all I could do was see him. I couldn't hear him.
Oh yeah,
he sounds like Mark Schlereth.
I don't know what Mark Schlereth sounds like.
What are you trying to say, Brinson?
Devo's face says it all.
No, I was trying to like.
No one knows Mark
Schlereth's voice in my head, but Noah Eagle, very talented. He's the Clippers play-by-play announcer on radio all by himself, and he's 23.
I was gonna say he looks like he's 17.
He's a stud. He kills it.
Good for him.
Yeah. All right. Shall we do this? Ben Roethlisberger says he'll talk with his family about the decision on his future. Says he has a year on his contract. Quote, I hope the Steelers want me back if that's the way we go. There will be discussions, but this isn't the time for that. Via Brooke Pryor of ESPN.
Hey, give him his watch. Thank you for your service. Off you go.
You sure it's not Randy Fichtner who needs to retire?
They can both
We'll
go.
talk about this in the podcast.
Let's go. We're waiting for you. You got to get your ice. The old lady eating ice chips.
I need to get ice.
Old lady and crazy people that eat ice chips.
Breech is making a pink panty pull down.
I know what that is. Please start the podcast.
That's because you didn't watch the chat.
Oh.
I told Brinson I'm going to pick out a drink for each Twitch thing, and we all have to drink it.
All right.
Right here, I got something called a clam shot. How do you guys feel about clam shots?
That is the signal that we need to start the podcast.
Absolute pepper vodka.
Last podcast after he makes that drink, so let's go.
You guys need to get pepper vodka. That's a key ingredient in there.
Truth LOL says water is the best drink. Water is the best drink. There's nothing when you're really thirsty. There's nothing that nobody believes you're drinking water.
This is I'm drinking my water out of a water bottle.
Yeah, it's a universal solvent. Please, for the love of God, I'm begging you.
It's only 12:23. Why don't we've only been live for 90 minutes. Why don't we hang out longer before we start the podcast?
Clam shot sounds completely disgusting from Nathan. It did. The ingredients looked not great.
Somebody in the chat says Wilson. Da-da, da-da.
The Cowboys will be 3-3 after
I have a pass for 9-7.
Well, let's start the podcast. Debo, are we good to go?
We are set. We're going to keep this one 50 minutes.
Tight.
50 minutes.
5-0. Let's do it.
I'm very excited for Ryan Wilson to extend this podcast an unnecessary 5.
By the way, let's do 48 minutes for the number of points the Browns scored on the Steelers tonight. Let's do it.
What a big jam!
All right, let's go.
Do Dunkaroo.
Oh! All right. 3. No, yeah. Bad. Wilson.
I can't.
Just hang out.
Yeah.
But we each really lead. That's what that.
Yep. Hop out of here for a second, Brinson.
BRB.
Is it just about myself?
It's just us two, and you're on. It's people can just see a screen of you. We're dealing with the echo. We'll be back in just a minute. We're gonna add Breech. Why don't you hop out of here real quick?
All right.
And join back in the Breech podcast. Now it turns into the Brinson podcast.
But I'm still worried that I can hear myself All right, now we're good. All right, we should be good. I did get a picture of Breech. I'm fine. I'm comfortable doing this podcast by myself like this. I'll talk. I'll filibuster by myself as long as I possibly need to and answer questions. The Breech podcast.
You guys in the chats, are you still hearing echo?
I think we got rid of the echo.
Cool.
Yeah, if you guys are in the chat, let us know. Nope, no echo. All right, awesome.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right. Breech, I got a great picture of you looking absolutely petrified by yourself as you thought. It's the same look that Debo made when he thought he was going to have to do this like solo Twitch channel by himself for 30 minutes.
5 minutes by myself if I had to.
I could do at one point when we were doing the podcast in its early infancy days, I couldn't shut up. I couldn't find a guest, and so I did a 25-minute filibuster on a game recap.
I can think of nothing worse than Brinson stand-up. Like that is by far that's the 2020 of comedians. Brinson doing stand-up.
Before we get started, Sean G. Ryder has a question. He wants to know: can you do a ranking of the 15 best and worst calls from this weekend officiating?
15 is not enough.
I'm just kidding. He didn't actually ask that. Let's start the podcast. All right, Debo, are we ready?
Let's do this thing. Now we got to cut it to 46 minutes.
Oh, please. 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Will Brinson. I'm your host. Joining me now to break down the final 3 games of a thrilling wild card weekend to look at Sunday's football action, Ryan Wilson and John Breech. Hello, fellas.
Hey, the good news is I don't have to get another Ryan Finley tattoo. Just one. That's the highlight so far of week 18, if you will.
Wilson, Brinson and I were talking about beforehand. We thought about saying, we said to ourselves, man, if the Browns put up 48, maybe we should pity-wise let Wilson out of this tattoo. But then we said, no way. You lost and the tattoo's still on.
Yeah, no chance. By the way, if you are hanging out with us in Twitch or on YouTube or on Periscope, I guess, thank you for watching. We are live. It's 12:30 in the morning Eastern time on Sunday night. And we're apparently have sort of shoehorned ourselves into doing live podcasts for the foreseeable future, much to Ryan's excitement. We are going to be live Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern, when we do our pick shows. We'll do that for the next 2 weeks. And then I presumably we'll do something for the Super Bowl. And then, of course, next weekend for the divisional round, we'll be doing noon Eastern pregame shows for both of those. I don't know if that's correct, Ebo. I would guess we would go an hour before the 4:30 game on Saturday, right? Sure. Sounds good. We'll let you know more about that. But noon Eastern on Sunday, I would guess, is what we're going to do. I would assume we do an hour leading up to it, but we'll be live on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/CBS Sports HQ. You can download the Twitch app on your phone, smart device, or you can just go on your browser and check it out. If you're watching us live, make sure to download, subscribe, and rate and review. And if you want to come watch us live, we'll be recapping. So next weekend for the divisional round, fourth quarter watch parties. We will watch the fourth quarter of the games on Twitch. It'll be me and Breech. Wilson will pop in after those are over. We'll try and find somebody who's interested in the game to join us. Like for the Buffalo game, maybe we'll get RJ White and watch him suffer as the Bills choke to the Ravens or something like that. Then we go straight into the post-game pod live on Twitch, which you can watch. You can see the sausage being made. You can see Ryan's angst at having to deal with all of this when he is hours away from his family and for some reason wearing a Browns tie despite being a Steelers fan on a day that the Browns knocked the Steelers out of the playoffs, maybe ending I don't call it a dynasty because it hasn't been that successful, but the pretty impressive run by the Steelers over the last decade plus. 48-37 Browns win. Obviously the Browns covered. Obviously the over hit. Every alternate Browns total probably covered. Every alternate over probably hit. What's your initial reaction to this debacle? The latest playoff debacle from Mike Tomlin, who now has 4 one-and-dones in the playoffs as an 11-win or better team. those losses are to Baker Mayfield and the Browns, Tim Tebow, Blake Bortles, and somebody else that's awful.
It ain't Andy Dalton. I know that. The last 2 Steelers home playoff games. I'm dunking on everybody tonight before I get dunked on. Last 2 home playoff games at Heinz Field, 2017, 45 points to the Jaguars and Blake Bortles. Sunday night, 48 points to Baker Mayfield. So look, here's the thing. Like to the first half, that wasn't Mike Tomlin or coaching. That was Roethlisberger, Marquise Pouncey, just making a bunch of stupid mistakes. And, I've been saying it for years. They play down to the level of their competition. And you can say what you want about the Browns. They had half the team hurt. They had guys out there. They had no head coach. By the way, how crazy is it that Mike Preer, is his name Mike Preer? Prefer. He has more playoff wins than Freddie Kitchens and Kevin Stefanski combined.
And Marvin Lewis.
And Hugh Jackson.
Oh, God. The best story was that Chris Collinsworth told is that Mike Prefer's kids, because he's coached one interim game for the Vikings before when Mike Zimmer had eye surgery, and he filled in for him and lost to the Cowboys. And his kids, his own children, call him 0-1. That is savage. And then Collinsworth tells that story, and Al Michaels is like, "Yeah, but they covered." Like, put it. It's full.
So here's the thing. So what was the score at halftime, Breech?
35-10.
35-10. And we did the halftime show on HQ, and Eric Asilius said,
"Were you in tears?" I didn't see it.
No, that wasn't me. And you guys probably know this. Like, well, Brinson doesn't have a team. He's a Panthers fan or Phillip Rivers fans. But when you're at work, you can't act like the butthole. You act like when you're at home in your basement and yell and scream and stuff. So you have to tone it down, and you sort of accept things that seem inevitable. But Eric Asilius said at halftime, said, "Look, all the Steelers have to do, it's a long shot, but if they score 2 touchdowns in the third quarter, the Browns' butt's going to pucker, and you're going to have a chance." Yeah. And he was reading off the win probabilities by play in the third quarter as they were driving. It went from, I guess it was probably 2% at halftime. It was 7%. It was all the way up to 24%. And then at the end of the third quarter, after they cut the lead to 12 points, facing a 4th and 1 on your own 46, you punt. And not only do you punt, you take a delay of game to make it 4th and 6 back to your own 41. And not only do you take that delay of game, you punt the ball out of the end zone, 30 yards change in field position. Breech put this quote into Slack, which infuriates me. Tomlin was, of course, asked about it after the game. He said, we had some stops. We want to pin them down, provide a short field for offense. I wanted to keep the momentum going in terms of field positioning. You kick the ball out of the end zone, number 1. Number 2, you had the ball at midfield. The Browns were reeling. And here's, I say this all the time on the podcast.
Reeling.
If you're a Browns fan, if you're a fan of a team that's losing momentum, I guarantee you 100 times out of 100, you are doing jumping jacks of joy. I don't know if that's a thing, that the Steelers chose to punt in that situation. If they're going for it on 4th and 1, after scoring 2 touchdowns by basically marching them down the field, after a 3-and-out previously by the Browns, you're crapping your pants. The only change in momentum by doing that is the air going out of the Steelers team. And I was watching the game with Eric Asilius and Joe Musso downstairs, and we all said, that's it. Momentum gone. You kick the ball out of the end zone. It makes it even worse. Here's the other thing. The Browns come right back down to score. So that's a 7-point swing. Let me finish the point, and then you can go. Yes, the Steelers come back and score 4 minutes later, 4 minutes off the clock by the time they had originally punted on 4th and 1. So the Steelers come back and score, but they missed the 2-point conversion. So basically what you've said is, for 4 minutes of game time, in which you're trailing by 12, you're willing to trade a -1 points, and you don't have the ball because then you score a touchdown. You have to kick it off to the Browns. It makes no sense. It is the worst play call that I can recall in the Mike Tomlin era. He was hired in 2007. It was idiotic. There's no excuse for it. 0, none. Even Mike Vrabel thought that was a terrible play call.
So we went live to start the fourth quarter on the Twitch stream, which, by the way, so that Mike Tomlin punt happened 1 hour and 43 minutes ago. It feels like 72 years. But we were going live.
It was the very first play of the fourth quarter.
Because he let the clock run down to the third quarter. So we're like kind of firing up, and we're sort of talking about it. We're like, yeah, obviously they're going to, and we're like, oh my God, they're bringing out the punt team.
The worst thing is we have the network feed. So we don't get the commercials, but we see the camera, and I see Danny Smith, the special teams coach. I say, why is the camera on him? This is during the commercial break. Then I see Jordan Berry, the punter. I said, what are they doing? What could possibly be going through anyone's mind that you're sending them out there to punt the ball on 4th and 1 from the 46 on the first play of the fourth quarter where you're down 12 points? That's like Nick Costos right now.
And this is, I literally said that, look, if you were down 28-0 at the end of the first quarter, you send your punt team to the locker room. You say, guess what? You guys are done for the night because we're not punting. We're down 28-0. The only way we're coming back is by going for it on 4th down every single time. And the thing is, if you go for it on 4th and 1 there are 3 things. If you don't get it, that's worst case scenario. Now, the Browns take over, and there's 3 things that are going to happen. Only one of them is bad, and that's if they score a touchdown. Otherwise, maybe you stop them. They have to punt because and everybody's so enthusiastic. It's like, yeah, coach went for it on 4th down. He had some confidence. Or they drive, they get like 2 first downs, they kick a field goal, and you're only down 38-23. That's still only 2 scores. Instead, you gave yourself no chance. If you get it and you go down, score a touchdown, guess what? Now you're only down 35-30. I mean, it's bonkers.
Well, and as Breech pointed out at the time, as we're watching this unfold, and I just looked it up, they got to the spot where Pittsburgh punted it. They got to Pittsburgh's 41 in less than 2 minutes. So, what did you gain here? You are down 12 points. You are staring a historical comeback in the face. You have nothing to lose. You're down 35-10 at halftime. The whole goal is just to pull out what does Jason Witten say, or some rabbit out of your ass? I mean, you're trying to pull a miracle
out of your head or something like
rabbit out of your head, or a foot out of your head, or whatever it is. And the idea that you would punt there when for an entire quarter, Ben Roethlisberger has looked awesome, has made great decisions, albeit that one almost interception, has thrown the ball way more accurately. Receivers are running wide open. You're going to pick up the first down. You're going to pick up a couple more first downs. You're going to be in the end zone, and it's going to be a 1-score game. And every Browns fan and every Browns player and every Browns coach and every person involved around with or near the Cleveland Browns is going to have their little bungholes about the size of a pea head. Because, they are going to be melting down. That is when you have Baker Mayfield make a massive mistake. He tried to throw a pick 6 in that third quarter. They were melting down. They wanted to melt. They understood the pressure. They understood the weight of not having won a playoff game. And all you have to do is get that 4th down, go score a touchdown, and you're winning the game. It's over. It is over if you get a touchdown there. And I cannot, for the life of me, when you're seeing how badly your defense has been gashed, how poorly they're playing, and how well your offense is playing in the third quarter, why Mike Tomlin would decide to do that. It is a tough call.
Worst call of the weekend by far. Like I said, worst call of the Mike Tomlin era by far. If Mason Rudolph is the quarterback, fine. If Duck Hodges is the quarterback, fine. If Nick Chubb wasn't running through your defense like they weren't there, fine. If you just hadn't scored 2 touchdowns and had a ton of confidence, fine. But what are we doing? And by the way, they botched a couple of those 2-point conversions, when to go for them, when not to. Look, Carnegie Mellon, I went to grad school there. It is literally in the city of Pittsburgh. It is filled with nerds. Some of the smartest people on planet Earth, engineers, mathematicians, physicists. Go over there and say, hey, please help me figure out what to do at the end of the halves, second and fourth quarter, because I'm killing this team by doing stupid stuff.
Well, Ryan, maybe if the Steelers head coach would have gotten a college degree from a better university.
Up high!
My dunk back. All right.
You completely ruined Ryan's I went to Carnegie Mellon humble brag there. Good job.
Here's the other thing. Breech stuck to himself. Where did Ben Roethlisberger go to college, dummy? I can't hear you.
There's the one college that has 2 head coaches left in the NFL playoffs, Ryan. Double dunk.
No.
Sean McVay and John Harbaugh.
Breech, that's not a double dunk. That's a layup.
8 quarterbacks went 0-2 on Saturday. You're not getting any more. We're not talking colleges right now. By the way, I put up a poll on which terrible punt was worse, Tomlin or Vrabel. Tomlin got 62.1% of over 1,600 votes. Vrabel just 37.9%. I kind of agree, and I made that argument with Breech. I mean, just you are dead in the water. KMeads42 asked which decision was worse on Twitch. I think Vrabel's. Both were terrible, but I think at least Vrabel's is like, all right, we're going to try and pin them, and we're down 4. We're hoping we can just be down 7, worst case. Maybe we make a stop. Maybe we something. Tomlin's is like, dude, you're down 12 points at the end of the third quarter.
What are you doing? I can't wrap my brain around it. Like I can wrap my brain around Roethlisberger throwing interceptions. He does it. That's what he does.
I think if they convert that fourth down, they win the game.
Well, and that's the thing is like we can't sit here and dissect the first half because it was all just weird stuff that just kind of went haywire that doesn't happen in games. You know, like the center snapping it. This isn't Super Bowl 49. It happened to Peyton Manning. They got a safety. How did James Conner or Ben Roethlisberger not hit that ball out of bounds or they were both on it. They both had a chance to fall at the 1 yard line. And Ben pulled a Cam Newton from Super Bowl 50 and wanted nothing to do with jumping on that football because he knew it was going to get plowed on. I cannot believe the Steelers did not recover that, but it was all weird things like that. I think 2 of Ben's first half interceptions got tipped.
Doesn't matter. I mean, those are things that
well,
happen.
I'm saying though that it was all just weird, the Lemon Snicket series of unfortunate events.
Those aren't coaching concerns. But the one huge coaching gaffe overshadows everything that happened before it. Because
I mean, that team came out flat, lazy.
You can't tell Marquise Pouncey, who's been in the league since 2010, to snap the ball properly. That's something you probably shouldn't have to tell him. You can't tell Big Ben not to throw interceptions when you know that's what he's going to do. That's not on Mike Tomlin or Randy Fichtner.
I'm just telling you, the Steelers showed up expecting to just win.
Telling me that. I mean, that's all I talk about.
Well, that's how they. I mean, but that's partially.
It looked like they showed up expecting to lose.
Well, they look like they showed up like we don't have to do much. We're going to just plow this Browns team and get on with it.
I don't think that's. I mean, they've come out flat for the last 2 months. I mean, let's be honest.
It reminded me a lot of the Colts game.
Hey, I was going to say they came out flat against the Colts. They just got hot in the second half, and Frank Reich didn't do a good job coaching in the second half.
But I mean, like just like this game, like they.
Well, my point is that they weren't like thinking they were going to roll this team.
All right, so let's. I mean, I don't know.
I think the crazy part, real quick, is that for ever since the Steelers lost to the Bengals, Wilson was so he's like, they're one and done. I don't care. They're one and done. This team's done. But then when he saw they were playing the Browns last week, he was like, they could probably win that game, but then they're going to lose the next one.
Any other opponent, and
who the hell thought they were losing this game with no players in the Browns? I mean, that wasn't a huge
coach.
Huh?
No coach.
Right, yeah. But I mean, it's like I was going on a limb saying they're going to beat the Chiefs. I said they're going to beat the Browns team with 4 players.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like if they've been playing
the Browns are 0-17 in Pittsburgh.
If they were playing the Colts,
hadn't won a playoff game since 1994.
Colts, Dolphins, Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, Titans, any of those teams, I would have picked an upset because it was the Browns.
And by the way, we'll talk about this later. You know, the biggest loser on Sunday night, it wasn't the Steelers.
It's the Bills,
the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. Okay. So, is there any concern about Mike Tomlin's job?
If I could slap you through the computer, I would.
Okay.
Let me put it to you this way. Just like the conversation I have, if you're a fan base, are you happy the team punch to go for 4th and 1? How long do you think Mike Tomlin will be out of work if he got fired tomorrow?
15 minutes?
5 minutes.
I was going to say it's 15 minutes. The Bengals are racing to fire Zach Taylor so they can hire Mike Tomlin. And Breech would be ecstatic about it. See, look at that face.
Wouldn't hate it.
Wilson in rare form.
Oh,
in the chat.
By the way, before we go on.
Well, you know what's funny, Wilson, is that we did talk about that before during the live Twitch stream. And I said, if you're the Steelers, if you really didn't want Mike Tomlin, you're the Steelers, you could call up any team in the league. They'll give you a 1st-round pick for Mike Tomlin. Not any team. I mean, Andy Reid, Chiefs. I'd say there's at least 10 teams who give up 1st-round pick for Mike Tomlin.
Here's the question. Would you trade Mike Tomlin for Deshaun Watson?
No.
That's
if you're who?
No, if you're the Texans.
I would imagine Mike Tomlin's like, I'm not moving to Houston. I'm not doing that.
I mean, I think if you're the Steelers, you're like, yeah.
No. You're crazy. They are not. No, they went 8-8 with Doug Hodges.
They would 100% trade Mike Tomlin for Deshaun Watson.
You're insane. They would not.
Mike Tomlin would make that trade. He'd be like, listen, I understand. You got to do it.
No, they're not doing it.
You would not trade Mike Tomlin for Deshaun Watson?
They went 8-8 with Doug Hodges and Mason Rudolph.
No one you send Roethlisberger off and immediately replace him with Deshaun Watson, and you wouldn't do that to sacrifice.
Who's the coach?
Who cares?
Well, that's why you're an NC State.
Go hire some good team, some good coach.
Where are they? Oh, they're just out there. You can find them on the street corner.
If you put Deshaun Watson on the Steelers, that becomes very quickly the most attractive job in football.
No, I'm not doing it.
Wow.
No one with a brain's doing it either. By the way,
Ryan, is it frustrating? Do you feel like the Steelers just flat out gave the game away?
Here's how I felt, Breech. I'll be honest. Like at halftime, I'd resigned myself to the loss. I was just wondering how bad it would be. But we know the Steelers are a second half team, and when they scored 2 touchdowns, it was actually fun to watch because really like little invested at that point. And Eric Casillas, to his credit, was being making me feel good about the Steelers' chances. When that punt happened, I said, I'm out. You deserve to lose. You deserve to lose by 4 touchdowns because that is basically, I'm trying to think of what's a good analogy for that, Breech. I don't know what it is, but
waving the white flag.
Yeah.
Literally surrendering.
Like so you're running a race and you fall down and you're running 100 yards. You fall down after 5 yards or you fall down at the starting point and you break your leg. And then the person's at the 50-yard line. You finally start running and you somehow catch them. And then you get to the 85-yard line and you're like, I'm going to stop and tie my shoe. And they just fucking.
This is live. We can't edit that. We can't edit it.
And then they moonwalk across the finish line while you're still tying your shoe going, what are we doing? By the way, that is a deserved F-bomb.
Oh man, Wilson is I cannot wait to tell everyone. If there was one time that Wilson was going to cuss tonight, it was absolutely going to be talking about Tomlin's punt.
And this is Breech's fault for asking me about it one more time. Nickelodeon. Hey, that's right. If you can say it on Nickelodeon, you can say it on the Pick Six Twitch stream.
I'm crying. Oh my God.
Hey, listen, before we move on, or if we stay here, my buddy from college is a lifelong Cleveland fan. He grew up in Cleveland, and he's like a finance guy who probably makes a ton of money. He sent me this this text before the game. He thought the Browns were going to lose, but he's got his Baker Mayfield jersey on, and this is what he had on. Let's see if you can see it.
What is that?
That is a brown suit.
Oh, God. Oh my! Oh, I see it now. Yeah.
Did you pay money for that?
What on earth?
Yeah. So Baker.
I mean, we should all be wearing our Baker Mayfield Feeling Dangerous shirt that we got sent.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
We're letting our listeners down.
So.
Yes, also drive home. No kidding.
So
we need an emo mixtape for the drive home. So any recommendations would be welcome.
Okay. So do you want Big Ben? You want to send out to pasture? You won't trade Mike Tomlin for.
Not trading Mike Tomlin. No, that's idiotic. Big Ben. I mean, here's the thing. And I even hesitate to tell you this because you'll run with it. You were a year early on the Steelers finishing last prediction because they're going to blow up the roster. Their salary cap situation is a mess. They have a bunch of old guys. They have huge holes in the roster. So, I mean, that's going to be a concern. But look, they had a good run. Big Ben's been there 15, 16 years now, 17 seasons. We'll find out how good Tomlin was coaching there last year in my mind. We'll find out how good a coach he is over this next stretch when he's struggling to figure it out with putting the pieces in place.
Browns at the Chiefs. It was 9.5 open when Debo created the rundown. By the time we were talking about it on the live show, it was 10. It's normalized back. The juice is even. It's at 10. I bet it sits at 10 for a little bit. Thoughts on, can Cleveland be dangerous for the Chiefs?
Go ahead, Breech. I'll follow.
No.
What in terms of the point spread or overall?
Anything.
Here's my thing, and I talk about this all the time. Last 6 or 7 games, Chiefs will win by a score or less.
Yeah.
You have to go back to week 8. They played the Jets. Last time they had a double-digit win. The Jets, Breech, the Jets. But here's the counter argument before you answer. Andy Reid off the bye. And not only Andy Reid off the bye, it's Andy Reid off basically 2 buys because a lot of those guys set in week 17.
Yeah. And if you look at they had a couple blowout wins early in the season, just taking care of business, double digits. Oh, they beat the Chargers in OT, beat the Bills by 9, throttle the Broncos, throttle the Jets, and then they had that run of close wins. I mean, you go back to the playoffs, they were trailing in the playoffs too. I think Cleveland can give them
I think the Browns cover.
I think Cleveland can give them a scare. And that's isn't that what I said? What did I say on Twitter?
You said during the Twitch chat, you talked yourself into that. At first, you said you thought the Chiefs cover anything up to 14. And then we talked about it a little bit more. And then you talked yourself into like 3 circles. And you ended with the Browns probably being able to cover.
Yeah. I mean, I think 10 is too much for me to want to take the Chiefs, but I don't really feel comfortable taking the Browns. What I might do instead is take the Chiefs team total over. If it's like 32, maybe.
I don't. So we'll see what happens to Joel Bitonio. I'm assuming he'll be out of COVID protocols. I don't know what the Denzel Ward situation is. So those are concerns there.
Oh, here's what I said. Super hot take, but the Browns could low key give the Chiefs some fits in the playoffs if they meet up. I think
that's not even hot. That's a lukewarm take.
Well, I just think people treated it like it was a crazy hot take. I think the Browns could have a lead at some point in the second half.
Dude,
that would qualify.
Is it crazy to think that, like, if the Browns lose to the Chiefs, which is probable, and they don't win a playoff game, for the next few years, that Mike Prefer is going to have the only Browns playoff win as a coach since 1994?
So Mike Prefer and Bill Belichick, the last two Browns coaches, win a playoff game.
Strong list.
I just sort of think the Chiefs can, like, the formula has to be there where Mahomes can't come out slinging early. Like the Chiefs have to.
Oh, no. But I will say this about Pat. You're right. You run the ball with Nick Chubb all day long, Kareem Hunt all day long, and you make that Chiefs defense earn it. But I will say this, and I've been crushing Baker Mayfield in terms of I don't know if he's up for big moments. In the third quarter, when everyone's butt in Cleveland sideline was tight,
he stepped up.
He stepped up and he made big throws. He had 0 turnovers. You mentioned almost a pick six. But Big Ben had 4 turnovers. He should have had 7 or 8 more. No fumbles by that Browns team. That's a huge. We talk about Josh Allen having confidence in big games. That's a huge confidence boost for Baker Mayfield. And all the taunting and sort of crazy stuff. Those guys deserve to do all of that. And by the way, Juju Smith-Schuster, how about you shut up? All that dancing and
off your TikTok, you dang kid.
And the saying the Browns are who we thought they were, effectively. That ain't working, my man.
It's really not.
Your boy Juju ended up with 157. Is that all garbage time? So it doesn't matter.
All garbage time.
Garbage yards.
Somebody asked in the chat, is Juju on the Steelers next year? He is. I mean, right? I think.
No, I don't think so.
Whoa, really?
I feel like he's too much of a headache. Ryan, you would know better. I would say no if I had to bet on it right now. Ryan, is Juju Smith-Schuster?
That was playing, Ryan. Okay, Ryan is doing something weird. He's lost his mind. So his contract's up after this year.
Right.
He's 23 years old.
So
he's really, really young.
I'm sorry, who are you talking about? I accidentally hit mute. I couldn't hear you guys for a couple seconds.
Juju Smith-Schuster, is he on the Steelers next year?
No.
Wow. Okay.
They don't have any salary cap space, and their wide receivers aren't their issue. They have, the offensive line is a mess. They have a ton of things to work out. But
I guess if you just had Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool and James Washington, you'd be fine.
That's a good place to start. But yeah, they have so many concerns that I don't know if they can afford to keep Juju.
Wow, this team is. Are the Patriots and the Steelers about to go into the sort of a dark period here?
They're going to be fighting for a quarterback. It'll be sort of fun to see how that plays out. Now, I'm not unlike Bleach, unlike Breech, I'm not a salary cap alarmist. I think the Steelers will figure out ways to do things. If Roethlisberger retires, that gets you some much needed space. I think his dead cap hit is 40-something million next year. So, I mean, there are ways, but the Steelers feel like a team that would roll with Mason Rudolph next year, and that's just, we
were talking about that before. I think I'd rather just go with Big Ben for one more year.
If that's the plan, sure, that's right.
So, I think the Colts will go with Rivers, and I think the Steelers will go with Big Ben. And then you explore your options in the draft. Maybe you look to free agency and see what's out there. But ultimately, you can't. You just can't go with Mason Rudolph for a year. You can't go with Nick Easton or Jacob Eason or
You can, of course you can.
You can.
I don't know. It depends. If you're trying to
Big Ben's under contract, you're gonna be paying him. If you're gonna take that dead cap hit.
No. He needs to retire. Like there has to be. I think you get your money back if they retire. Breach. Is that right?
No, but remember the Cowboys are still paying Tony Romo.
That's because Jerry Jones signed him to a guaranteed $4 billion deal.
Maybe.
If he retired, you can get it back, but I don't think the Steelers would ask if they encouraged him to retire. Like, they're not going to say, hey, like, they're going to be taking a $22.5 million cap hit, almost certainly, if he retires.
Yeah, I think so too. Because Ben's going to want to get paid. Ben's not giving up $22 million or whatever the number is.
It's 22. AF Pierce notes it's $40 million cap hit, 22.25 dead cap.
Cam Hayward said, we blew it. I can't sugarcoat it. As a defense, we gave up too many points. As a leader of the defense, I failed miserably. It's tough to lose. It's tough to lose guys in that locker room. that have done great things on and off the field. JJ Watt, remember the Steelers next year?
Who cares? I mean, it would be. They could all live together and make a reality show. But at the end of the day, is he helping them win football games?
Would the show be called High Wattage?
Pretty good name for the show.
I'm already naming
Let's
it.
take a break on that.
Okay.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll look at the other two games from the Wild Card Weekend Sunday. Super Wild Card Weekend Sunday. All right, so the Ravens took out the Titans. Oh, I almost went 5-0-1 against the spread, but I took the Steelers. I had the Ravens covering. Breech. Ho, ho, ho! Up high, down hard. Yalooza! Your Titans lost, and Mike Vrabel had the second or first most cowardly punt of the weekend. By the way, somebody came in my mentions. They were like, "You call a man a coward? He could rip your face off and eat your brains in a second." And then somebody else was like, "Will Brinson's made a living off this, calling people cowards online. They're being like kissing up to him in real life." I was like, I don't really think Mike Vrabel's a coward. Like, I mean,
It was a cowardly call. That's what you're saying, Brinson.
if I saw Mike Vrabel in person, I was like, "What's up with that punt, man?" Like,
You wouldn't call him a coward, though.
I wouldn't be like, "Hey, Vrabel, you coward." I'd be like, "Vrabel, man, you can't punt that." He'd be like, he'd look at me and be mad, and then yada yada yada. Something, he'd punch me, he'd rip my brains off, or eat my brains, or whatever that guy said. Lamar narrative out the door. The Ravens covered the -3.5. The under 53.5 hit. Lamar said afterwards, we finally finished. Our defense was tired of hearing the noise, and they did what they were supposed to do. What was the most impressive part for you guys about this, Breech? I would guess it's the absolute lockdown of Derrick Henry.
No.
No.
It was not the lockdown of Derrick Henry that was the most impressive thing to me. As the person who picked the Titans and who saw the Titans jump out to a 10-0 lead and was absolutely sure the Titans were going to win at that point because Lamar Jackson had never come back from a double-digit deficit in his entire NFL career. The most impressive part to me was Lamar Jackson. I thought the biggest play of the game, and it's really where you felt the tide turn, was, look, right before the 2-minute warning, the Ravens are facing a 3rd and 9.
3rd and 7 or 3rd and 9 or whatever it was. Where
if you stop them there, they're punting. They're at the Titans 48. No, Lamar Jackson scores a 48-yard touchdown run, and that's where it kind of felt like, all right, well, the Ravens are winning this game because they came back from 10-0. They tied it at 10, and Lamar just had that look where, like, I'm not losing this game. I'm not going in Andy Dalton territory. I'm not becoming the second quarterback in NFL history to lose his first 3 playoff starts in his first 3 years. He kind of said that after the game, like he just did not want that monkey on his back, and he was just so determined to get it off. And so, yeah, stopping Derrick Henry was 1A or 1B or whatever, but Lamar just with the iron will to not go down was, I felt like, the reason the Ravens won this.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. It wasn't the 10-0 lead that they relinquished or the stopping of Derrick Henry. It was the fact that Lamar Jackson. And what was the stat they kept saying? The Ravens were the only team in the playoffs the last 4 years that hadn't come back, or last NFL team in the league that hadn't come back from a 10-0 lead in the last 4 years.
No. They had never come back from a double-digit deficit at any point, regular season or playoffs, for the past 4 years.
The last 4 years, yeah.
Last 4 years.
If they were trailing, they just didn't come. They didn't win. They just lost.
And Lamar, it's sort of funny. After the game, John Harbaugh said that Lamar Jackson touchdown run was the most amazing run he's seen from Lamar. I don't know if that's the case. He felt like he did it on a weekly basis in 2019, less so this year because of COVID issues and they struggled and all the things that happened. But that's the danger with Lamar Jackson. That is the absolute danger, even when he's not throwing the ball. And I think part of the issue, maybe aside from the COVID stuff, is that Lamar was trying to make himself into being a more of a passer. Screw that, man. Do Lamar and
go get a Super Bowl with Lamar and then figure it out. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, right. That's like when you retire and you learn how to fly a plane or something. Just do what you're doing now, and you can do the extracurricular stuff. When you're
and that's if you were the Titans, you wanted Lamar to throw the ball. They were like, if he can't run on us, we're going to win this game. That's what you're thinking if you're Tennessee. Because look, Tennessee's defense has been awful. Absolutely awful. And they held the Ravens at 20 points because the Ravens kept being dumb and trying to make things happen through the air when it was, let's just get Lamar going through with his legs. And real quick, I will say, so when Lamar scored that touchdown, I tied at 10. In my head, I'm like, game over. This is it. Like, whatever. Titans are going down. And then the Ravens got the ball first in the second half. They score a touchdown at 17-10. So even it's like, I was right. It's all over. The only twinge I had of thinking that, you know what, maybe the Titans can win this. They cut the lead to 17-13. The Ravens go down and try a long field goal with Justin Tucker. And Justin Tucker misses. Justin Tucker never misses. And so now it's 17-13 Baltimore, but Tennessee had great field position. And then that is possession where the Titans drove to Baltimore's 40-yard line. They were facing a 4th and 2. They were trailing 17-13. There is no reason on God's green earth why you should ever punt on 4th and 2 from your opponent's 40-yard line in the fourth quarter with 10 minutes left. It made no sense. You tweeted out that this man, Mike Vrabel, is a guy who said he would cut his penis off to go to the Super Bowl, and he's not going for it on 4th and 2 from Baltimore's 40 in the fourth quarter when you're trailing by 4 points, and you're going to give it back, the ball back to an offense that just has been going up and down the field on your defense in the second half. Absolutely mind-boggling decision. I can't believe that two coaches named Mike both pulled off just cowardly decisions.
Here's the thing. If I told you, Breech, that the Titans would be up 10-0, and a team that had 19 sacks throughout the entirety of the NFL season sacked Lamar Jackson 4 times in the first half. I mean, what's that spread?
I'm thinking that it's last year's game, and the Titans win 28-12.
Yep.
And they lost in part Lamar Jackson, but also the punt you talked about. I don't understand what's going on. Like, I don't know what the thought process was. And I know what I was going to say. And, by the way, I have zero issue with 25 Ravens defenders going to midfield and doing a jig on the midfield logo of the Titans, because that's how it started. Malcolm Butler did it before the pregame back in week 11, I think, when they played in Baltimore, and there were some words exchanged in midfield with Harbaugh and Vrabel, and Vrabel having to sit there, look at it. What do you guys think about the Ravens running off the field, not shaking hands? Harbaugh and Vrabel shook hands.
Lamar came back out and shook hands.
I don't care. Good. If you're gonna flap your gums, you got to back it up and not punt on from the 40-yard line. And also, as people used to tell me when I played pickup basketball and it got literally dunked on, don't get mad, get better.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to be a bad sport, but I don't really care. We're a little happy with the flags. I mean, it's a bad. Like they didn't need to be flagged for taunting for that. Cole Kmet didn't need to be flagged for taunting for
that Cole Kmet thing was insane. Taunt. I'm fine. You should flag the Ravens, but that in one of the few instances is worth it. Let me get
AF Pierce in the chat. He I think realized what I was talking about. I wasn't even talking about the Lamar Jackson run. I think it was early in the game. Lamar had a very like Josh Allen like throw, honestly, where he rolled out to his right. He's on the sideline. It's 3rd and 7, I think. Yeah, and he whips one into Mark Andrews for a first down. That felt like I don't know if it's a tide turner, but it was like an injection.
It might have been one of the first good plays he had, because we haven't talked about that horrible interception on the second series.
Oh my God, one of the worst picks you'll ever see.
And when he threw that was like, oh my God, it's happening here all over again. That was just an absolutely horrible throw. And then when the Titans capitalized with more points, it was just here we go again with the Ravens.
I think that was like just unfortunate. Like the ball came out funny. Like whatever happened. Like it was like he could throw the ball. It was like an arm punt. Let me ask you this, Breech, and Eric Casillas asked me this question. If you knew, and Brinson as well, if you knew before the draft that Justin Tucker would have the career that he would have, would you take him in the first round?
Where am I picking in the first round?
Between 20 and 25.
Yes.
He didn't hesitate.
What year was Justin Tucker?
What year was that?
2012.
He was undrafted though.
So I mean, 2012 was really good. So you got Luck.
No, 20, who picked
RG3 or Justin Tucker?
You have Luck, who's out of the NFL.
Who'd you say? I'm sorry.
RG3 or Justin Tucker?
Oh, you're taking Justin Tucker. He's taking him second overall. Done and done.
Yeah, you got Tannehill, which is kind of crazy. Stephon Gilmore, Dante.
Nick Perry, or Justin Tucker.
There you go. 20th to 25th. Who were picked there?
AJ Jenkins or Justin Tucker.
Yeah, I mean,
Brandon Whedon or Justin Tucker.
Yeah. So
Kendall Wright or Justin Tucker.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the Titans could have used him instead of Kendall Wright.
AJ Jenkins or Justin Tucker?
Yeah, you just said that.
Oh, you did? I thought you said.
All right, so yeah, I mean, Justin Tucker is a legit first round pick. Okay, good to know.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that if you look at the
Career average, my addition to the conversation, I didn't necessarily disagree with it. My initial thought was like second round pick, but you could talk him in first round. But he has been until recently the best offensive player for the Ravens. Until 3 years ago, he was the best offensive player they had for most of his career.
How's Justin Tucker not? I guess he's undrafted. All right, so hold on. Let's see. I'll tell you what his.
I'm not trying to get a sidetrack. I was just throwing it out.
I think it's a good question. We're trying to really stretch this podcast out too. So,
Debo notes that some tweet from Bleacher Report. Lamar refused to shake hands with the Titans and said they were disrespectful after that November game in which the Titans won in overtime in Baltimore when they stomped on the logo. So, all right.
So Tucker's. This is actually kind of interesting. So Tucker's career approximate value, according to Pro Football Reference, is 45 so far, including this year. That puts him squarely in this a really interesting range. So he's Whitney Merciless or Justin Tucker? You're taking Whitney Merciless, right?
I don't know.
Yes. Come on, stop.
How many games has Whitney Merciless won in the last second?
Kevin Zeitler or Justin Tucker?
That's a close one. I mean, Zeitler had DeCastro and Zeitler were close in terms of when they were drafted, but DeCastro's been better. Maybe Justin Tucker.
Well, here's the thing with Tucker is that most people view kickers as interchangeable, but the difference between Tucker and the rest of the kickers is like the difference between Derrick Henry and the rest of the running backs. Like there's one guy where you're saying, all right, this is a difference maker. He's
Marvin Jones or Justin Tucker?
Justin Tucker.
I don't know how you can do that. Casey Hayward or Justin Tucker?
I think Justin Tucker.
Brandon Brooks or Justin Tucker? Y'all stop it. Get out of here. You can find a kicker anywhere.
By the way,
Wilson's been brainwashed into the world of kickers. Thanks, Wilson.
Pierre Def's notes. I don't know if this is true. You have to double check it. Randy Bullock was drafted in 2012 in the 5th round. Randy Bullock or Justin Tucker?
Don't even say that ever again.
Oh, he missed! He missed! Oh, and he may have pulled a hamstring or a muscle, and there is complete elation.
Back, Randy! All right,
let's
let's get on. This is. I would like to note for the record that this Justin Tucker tangent had nothing to do with me.
And I would also like to note for the record that Randy Bullock was not drafted by the Bengals.
That's true.
He was drafted by the Houston Texans.
That makes sense.
Congratulations.
To be a quarterback.
But he was also the highest drafted kicker in 2012.
So I think it's safe to say that the Titans lost this game because their defense isn't very good.
No. Huge pushback. 4 sacks in the first half. At Breech noted they held them to 20 points.
Their defense played their best game of the season. Like they played lights out.
And by the way, Malcolm Butler had the first interception.
Wait, Marquise Brown lit him up.
No, Malcolm Brown had the first interception. He almost this close had an interception in the end zone in the first half that would have also changed the face of the game. So it wasn't the defense for the first time.
They lost because of the punt decision by Mike Vrabel and because Arthur Smith refused to call anything but Derrick Henry running on first down. Look, we've talked all about it, how they're never going to go away from Derrick Henry. That's fine. You can feed Derrick Henry all you want, but you cannot call the same play on every first down and the other team's ready for it and you're only getting 2 yards. You call play action, literally call anything else. I think they went the first 10 possessions. They may have only had 10 possessions. They went eight.
I don't even agree with I don't even agree with it. Like the Titans didn't lose because of their defense. They did play good defense. And they did this weird thing where they would run, I think it was described as like a muddled pass rush. So they would basically clog the interior and sort of leak somebody in, have good coverage on the back end. And Lamar was just holding the ball way too long. Like the Ravens could have obliterated them in this game if Lamar had started running earlier with the ball.
Well, I mean, the Titans could have obliterated them if they didn't play like crap, as Breech noted, offensively after that 10-0 start.
Dude, it was 6.3 yards per play to 4.3, 401 yards to 209, 13 rushing first downs for the Ravens. Do you know how many the Titans had?
Well, what's his face? Derrick Henry only had 40 or 50 yards or whatever it was, so it wasn't a lot. 1 rushing first down for the Tennessee Titans. 12 total. Some people were complaining that Marcus Peters had DPI and that final interception. Whatever. The first interception, Marlon Humphrey got pushed to the ground.
Yep.
On AJ Brown.
Yeah.
So it all evened out.
Yeah. Titans also 4 of 12 on third down. Not great. I tell you, the Ravens could have blown them out in this spot. Ravens at the Bills, as Ryan noted, the biggest losers from Sunday, probably the Buffalo Bills. And I saw Diva slack. Yeah, we're going to go through all 7 rounds of the 2012 draft. Bills minus 2.5. I think it's up to 3 at William Hill versus the Ravens. Your initial thoughts on that game, Wilson?
I'm now
2.5 now.
Yeah, I live in central New York. I'm going to be all in West New York. I like the Bills for a lot of reasons. Starts with Sean McDermott, William Mary grad. This is a chance for William Mary coaches to. And
he is coaching against Miami of Ohio grad.
Yeah, exactly.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
Bring it, Wilson.
That was the right button to push. I was wondering what you're going to push. So here's the thing.
How do you notice that I'm doing that? That's so impressive.
Your poker finger is not great. I said it all season that we weren't sure about.
Loser gets the other team's college logo tattoo.
No more tattoos. We're done with tattoos.
I know. Josh Allen has stepped up big this season in big games. I was like, okay, can he do it in the playoffs? He did it in the playoffs. I thought he played really well on Saturday. There was a fumble there at the end. Luckily, they recovered. But he carried that team in large part. I think he will play with the utmost confidence. And I think that Sean McDermott won't be outcoached. Now, I will say this. John Harbaugh ain't punting on 4th down no matter what. I want to see what Sean McDermott does when things get tight. Brian Daboll's done a pretty good job calling plays, although there were some issues in Saturday's game where they were running the ball nonstop for reasons that remain a mystery. But I like the Bills. Now, I don't know if they're going to cover, but I like the Bills to win this game.
Does the weather matter that it's going to be 30 degrees and 35% chance of snow? And
here's what Kenny White noted on HQ. What's Kenny's Twitter handle, Brinson?
At KYD Vegas?
Well, he's called the Wizard of Oz. I don't know if that's I thought it was his Twitter handle. Anyway, here's what he noted. No wind, Breech. So the cold weather won't be an issue for throwing the ball. Both teams don't care about cold weather, I don't think, especially if there's no wind.
It looks like it's going to be like 15 miles an hour wind.
It does, and kicking can be an issue. Like, it was pretty cold today in Nashville, and Tucker's 52-yarder almost fell short.
I'm going with Kenny, not you two idiots, in terms of meteorology.
He ain't the wizard of weather.
Yeah, he's not the wizard of weather.
You're the coward of ours.
Kenny's correct. Snow and rain don't matter for like points being scored. Wind does, but it's going to be windy. If it's snowing in Buffalo, it's going to be windy.
Okay, I live there, but go ahead. You tell me, Mr. North Carolina.
Is it okay? What the hell was the point for Kenny?
That throwing the ball won't be an issue because it won't be windy. It's not going to be windy in Green Bay either when we get to that game. Can't wait to hear your weather report on that one. My point is I'm sentimentally pulling for the Bills now, and I hope they win the game. I think on paper they're the better team, but it's close. Like these are two, I feel like, evenly matched teams. The Bills obviously would have much preferred to play the Steelers.
Yeah. Huge for the Bills. Huge loss. I mean,
think the Chiefs would have rather faced the Ravens or the Browns?
Yeah, I mean it's wild how big a win that was for the Chiefs and how big a loss that was for the Bills, for the Steelers to lose that, because that is a tough matchup. All right, we'll have plenty more coming up on those matchups. Nathan on YouTube is asking, what's in my glass? It is a Four Roses, the end tail end of a Four Roses small batch bourbon that I've been sipping on all weekend aggressively.
Must be nice. I'm over here sweating away in the office, and you're got your Ugg slippers on.
I do actually have slippers. Well, they're actually LL Bean slippers, but
my cup had seltzer Malibu. Oh, hard seltzer.
Oh, gross.
What is
it's
wrong?
Delicious. It's literally delicious.
That explains.
I hooked on it. They all laughed. They're like, "Oh my god, what is this guy's deal?" Final.
If anybody at Malibu listens to this, maybe I'll get a sponsorship out of it. Brinson, and who gets the last laugh? Be drinking all the free Malibu.
Last game.
Saints 21, Bears 9. Saints cover the -11. Barely. Get it? Barely. Under 48 hits. Was the best part about this game the fact that it was on Nickelodeon?
This game wasn't as bad as the Rams Seahawks game in terms of boring, was it?
No, but mainly
I thought say that, but I don't agree. I agree with whatever Brinson's going to say.
the Nickelodeon thing like kept you interested long enough for, I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah, I just mean the on-field product. I wasn't able to watch the Nickelodeon. I couldn't listen to it. I saw it, but I couldn't listen to it.
I honestly thought this game was captivating just because the Seahawks-Rams game felt a little bit boring, but this really felt like, especially the first half, that the Bears were absolutely in it and had, like, if Javon Wims doesn't drop the easiest touchdown pass of all time, I mean, that was probably the best throw of Mitchell Trubisky's life. He could not have, that was a dime. I mean, it was like a handoff that he put.
And that's sort of a play where like you have that thing, you dial that thing up in the offseason.
By the way,
but if he catches that, then it's 7-7. And who knows? Because the Bears defense played so well in the first half, but once they realized they weren't going to get any help from the offense, it was like, all right, we've been on the field for 70 plays. We're done.
I'm not a wide receivers coach, but I don't think you're supposed to catch a football like you're catching a beach ball like that. Like that ball literally hit his knee. That was the first thing it hit because it went right through his arms. Like he was like, basically, Mr. Trubisky made a 3-pointer from 40 yards away.
So that
was the basket,
but that play is probably supposed to be going to Darnell Mooney.
That's what my 9-year-old says. Yeah, 100%.
I mean, but like if Darnell Mooney's healthy, it's probably a touchdown because Darnell Mooney catches that.
If Javon Wims does this, it's a touchdown.
And I'm just saying that like they probably ran the play. They probably created the play for Darnell Mooney, and then Wims had to play in this game, and they're like, we got to use this play. We have to get some points here.
If Nickelodeon would have slimed him before the play, the stickiness on his hands would have caught the football. Like it literally was an impossible pass to drop, and he dropped it.
Brinson, you stepped away to get some ice shavings, and I was saying to Breech that several people thought Breech, based on one of his tweets, believed that there was actual slime on the field. Like he had slime cannons on the field.
I joked that I was like, Daddy, why don't the Bears get to use the slime too?
People were like, does Breech actually believe? Someone asked me, said, does Breech really believe there's slime on the field based on his how he was tweeting?
I could see that Breech believes that.
I'm trying to help the brand. It's Viacom CBS. If people think I think there's slime, that is alluring.
Most infuriating play of Sunday: Titans punt, Steelers punt, Javon Wims basketball hoop catch. If you're that fan base.
Oh God, I think
Tomlin.
You think so? Because the Wims makes that catch. It's 7-7.
They weren't winning that game.
You have a little confidence.
Yeah, but if you're Tomlin, you get that fourth down, it's over. Like I think.
So here's the thing about the rest of that. So Taysom Hill comes in, throws his first pass, promptly fumbles. He didn't throw another pass for the rest of the game, and that was a point where I think it was 7-3. And the Bears had another chance before halftime, the second quarter. They ended up punting, and they punted out basically the rest of the game. Third quarter, the Saints, have like a 12-15 play drive, touchdown. The next series, they have a 12-15 play drive, touchdown, or whatever, scored again, and that's a wrap. And that was it. And there was virtually no chance. Not virtually. There was no chance. They got a garbage touchdown with Jimmy Graham no one cares about with 3 seconds to go.
And the garbage touchdown came after Drew Brees scored a touchdown, but then it had it overturned, and he leapt up, thought he had the ball over, just patented little like just the tip move, as Tony Romo pointed out
several times.
Running back is like, we were getting in. It's like, and narrator, you didn't get in. How much does this game tell us about the Saints?
I'm fine with it.
I don't know.
So here's the fun fact that Breech may have, and I'm going to steal it from him. 10 quarters was how many quarters Michael Thomas and Drew Brees had played together this season before Sunday. Michael Thomas scored his first touchdown, I think, in 370-something days. So he came back, and they were sort of figuring things out. Alvin Kamara was sort of figuring things out now that Michael Thomas is back. And Michael Thomas can run slants till the cows come home. I'm fine with that. People can try to make that a joke. He's pretty good at it. Scored a touchdown. The first couple of plays, I think they targeted him, and he made the receptions. They can win with Drew Brees. They can win with Taysom Hill. They can win with Alvin Kamara. That defense. Well, let me ask you, Breech. So is that defense? Do you feel great about that defense based on the way they played, or is that a function of facing Mitchell Trubisky and the Bears?
Yeah, I don't think we really learned anything because it looked like Matt Nagy didn't trust Trubisky at all. He didn't let them throw very much until obviously that last drive when they had to throw. But that defense is good. So I don't think, and they absolutely shut them before that final 99-yard drive. They had them under 150 yards.
Yeah.
And that only been done like twice in the postseason in the last 10 years. You hold a playoff team to 150 yards
In 2020? Yeah.
When they actually have their starting quarterback, I think like Ryan Lindley was the last starter that was held under that total. Like, that's a crazy, crazy number.
Can I mention something quickly? Nathan Graber McCray commented in the live chat, Trubisky only had like 8 perfect passes left in him for his career, and the Wims drop was one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then Trubisky also ran out of bounds on 4th and 2. Like, bro, it's fourth. You dive forward and take the hit. It's the playoffs.
I had the exact same feeling, but when you saw the replay, I don't know who was one of the defensive backs or someone was coming. I think it made it tough, but you could actually challenge the first time. I agree. That was sort of a weird play.
Well, Trubisky only did that so Debo could get his little meme joke off.
Debo, that's Debo's go-to.
Committed relationship. Yeah, I think the Saints are interesting because they are sort of, I don't know how they got here, but they're sort of getting into full form in the weirdest way. Like, Breeze had the rib injury, and Thomas was, out and then injured, and he had that whole stuff in the middle of the season where there's rumors about him being traded or being cut this offseason. Kamara had COVID. The defense had been awful, and then kind of came together. Like, they're starting to kind of come together at the right time.
Yeah, and like even this game, Sean Payton was pulling Kamara to the sideline a lot more than they probably would have, because I don't think he thought he knew the whole game plan. That's what we saw Deontay Harris in there filling that Kamara role. But that's not going to happen next week. Like you said, everyone's going to be healthy. So this was like, hey, we're playing a good Bears defense. We're all kind of rusty. We haven't been on the field a lot together. So let's just win the game at whatever. Who cares if it's close, and move on.
And the thing about the whole first half, it's like, what are you doing? Why is this the Deontay Harris show? What is happening here? Like, get Michael Thomas involved. Get Alvin Kamara involved. It didn't feel like Sean Payton pulled out the full game plan that he might pull out against the Buccaneers. I'm not saying they were like, all right, we're playing the Bears, we don't have to worry about it. I mean, I do agree you're right to a certain extent, Breech, but I think they sort of like, they're just not in sync yet. But the last 3 games may have gotten them to a point where they can now go win 3 more games. They are really talented and really deep across the board. I think they can win games in different ways, and they just haven't clicked yet. And now they get Tampa Bay. They're 3-point favorites. Ryan, do they sweep Tampa Bay for the 3 wins on the season?
Yeah, I think so. I think, we always talk about, okay, can a team beat another team 3 times in a row in one season? And usually there's some disparities on either side of the ball. Now we're talking about Drew Brees, Tom Brady, 2 of the smartest quarterbacks in the NFL. Obviously, Tom Brady's a better quarterback right now. We know about Brees' shortcomings. But here's, to me, the 2 difference makers. One, they're going to play in the Superdome. I know there are no fans there, but it's still home field advantage on some level. And number 2, if you're asking me which defense I want, it's the Saints every day of the week.
Yeah.
Look, you might have questions about Drew Brees. Do you have more questions about Drew Brees or Taylor Heineke? Because Taylor Heineke carved up that Bucs defense. That's where I'm going.
I was like, what?
Yeah. They're coming off that game. So I feel really good about the Saints defense. I feel less so about the Bucs defense.
21 times the team has met in the playoffs going for a sweep, and they are 14-7.
I like the Saints.
So if the Saints win, it would go to 15-7.
Wait, a sweep being 3 times or even 2 times counts?
Sweep being 3 times. So they won the first 2 games, and then the third meeting in the playoffs that has happened. The last time a team won and their first one came in the playoffs after losing the first 2 in the regular season was the 2007 Giants, who then went on to win the Super Bowl. So maybe the Buccaneers will be that team that
and
wins.
By the way, if you do sort of the old school matchups, position by position, the wide receiver, there are more wide receivers that obviously are playmakers for the Buccaneers. Quarterback, you give the edge there. Running backs probably to the Saints, but defense to the Saints.
Yeah.
Coaching staff to the Saints. I mean, there are a lot of reasons to like the Saints in this game. That doesn't mean the Bucs can't win, of course, but right now I feel good about New Orleans' chances.
I mean, also just sort of feels like Sean Payton has Bruce Arians' number. Like he knows that Bruce Arians can be stubborn and do what Bruce Arians wants to do.
It's rarely the case that you say Sean Payton made a bunch of terrible decisions. That's why they lost.
Yeah.
You say that regularly about
Payton had a great game on Sunday, but he didn't need to have a great
He
game.
was playing a team like that almost bored him to death, like literally almost killed him watching that team try to play.
Yeah. I mean, 7-3. You scored 3 points in a half of an NFL game. It's not great. All right. The last game, the divisional matchups, and we'll, of course, break down everything in full throughout the course of the week. But Rams at Packers, look ahead. Packers -7, over under 46. Wilson, what do you think about this game?
On the over under, or just the whole thing?
Just game at home. Because Packers didn't play, Rams played on Saturday. Just looking at the game.
What's the line again? I'm sorry.
Packers -7.
I was reading the comments. Packers -7.
Read the comments.
Aaron Donald, we don't know his status right now. I love the idea of seeing Jalen on Devontae. I think that's going to be fun to watch, and let's see if that proves the Packers theory that they only need 2 players. The Packers theory that I made up by the Packers, they only need 2 players, Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. So we'll see about that. So Aaron Donald's concerned. The quarterback situation, Jared Goff / John Wolford / Blake Bortles, whoever's concerned. LA will be playing in cold weather. There won't be wind there, guys. You can look it up. But there will be cold weather. And I would imagine that they're not used to that coming from Los Angeles. And I think, the vindictive Aaron Rodgers prove everyone wrong tour continues. And he's going to be looking to do just that. I think they cover.
Okay. The popular tease this week. The popular tease this past week was Bucks, Steelers. How's that going to lose? How is it going to lose, guys?
Did you get +30 on Pittsburgh?
No, pick. The popular tease this coming week, I think, will be Chiefs down to I guess if you do 6-point teaser, it's not going to work. You're down to 4 because they're 10 now. If that would be 7. People are going to tease the crap out of the Packers. Is there any chance the Rams can win this game?
Yeah. How do they do it, Breech?
Can the Rams win this game?
I think they're live.
I think it's possible. I think obviously you have to have Aaron Donald out there, and you put pressure on Aaron Rodgers. He gets flustered. He's kind of like that. He's got that Tom Brady mentality where he's out to just murder everyone on the field. But if you kind of ruffle his feathers a little bit, he gets a little bit worried. The other thing we're talking about is that like Sean McVay knows Matt LaFleur. He knows what they're going to throw at him. They've coached together. They have a long history together. So the Rams defense is going to be ready for anything the Packers throw at them. And the Rams defense is better than the Packers defense. So I think the Rams can slow down. Like, this game doesn't have to turn into a shootout. I don't think the Rams can keep up in a shootout because I don't think whoever's going to be at quarterback is good enough to do that. And, Brinson, we talked about earlier, look, if you're the Rams, you have Jalen Ramsey to cover Devontae Adams. Then you have Aaron Donald, that defensive line, putting pressure on Aaron Rodgers. And that might be enough to keep this game close.
Yeah. You got to hit Aaron Rodgers early, limit Devontae Adams. Jalen Ramsey's got to play the game of his life. You got to lock down Devontae Adams. But we've seen him, DK Metcalf got his, but he was mostly minimized by Jalen Ramsey for
Devontae Adams ain't DK Metcalf.
What's that?
Devontae Adams ain't DK Metcalf.
Do you mean that in a
He's a billion times better. No,
yeah.
He doesn't have to shut him down. If he just holds him to like 75 yards, that puts a crimp in the Packers offense.
I mean, DK had that one garbage time touchdown and then the broken play touchdown.
Yeah, no disrespect to DK. That's just reality of it.
Yeah, I'm just saying we'll see. I mean, we'll see. Like if you can force Aaron Rodgers to use his other non-Will Fuller weapons, and you can dare the Packers to try to run the ball and bottle them up in that sense, I think you can go in there and win the game. It's got to be ugly. It's got to be muddled. It's got to be
again.
Huh?
Who's playing quarterback for the Rams to help them win this game?
Why would your golf play?
Well,
he doesn't know yet.
He had surgery 13 days ago. He couldn't
last week. He's fine. He got benched.
He couldn't hold the football on Saturday in 45-degree weather. It's going to be freezing. Let me ask you: when you break a bone, Dr. Brinson, does it feel better?
I've never broken a bone in my life, so I wouldn't know.
You're a doctor. You give medical advice on this podcast.
Okay.
Does it feel better or worse as the temperature drops?
Well, the bone's healed. I don't know. Show up.
This bone's not healed. It's got pins in it.
All right, look. They're going to have to run the ball. The Packers' run defense is not good.
Worst doctor ever.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah. Exactly.
Are we a medical podcast now?
We don't need to finish doing this. I'm sure that Debo is telling us to get out of here, right? Yep. The winners and losers. Oh, God, again. Why don't you give me some? Who wants to go first? Wilson, you're the You're the angry sober guy. Why don't you give us a winner?
I'm a winner.
Before Sean G. Ryder's asking, have I seriously never broken a bone? I've never broken a bone in my entire life. I'm not a moron. I don't want to break bones. I don't take unnecessary bone-breaking risk.
As he says, he's not a moron. This is also the guy that crashed a scooter at the NFL draft and had to get stitches on his face.
Yeah.
Not a broken bone.
I mean, that's fair, but you said you're not a moron. So
I've broken a bone and I've torn my ACL. I don't know if you guys heard about the ACL.
I have not broken a bone or torn my ACL, but I have gotten stitches.
I told you how I broke a bone. I punched a wall in college.
That's embarrassing.
That's humiliating.
Yeah.
Why did you punch a wall?
Over a girl.
Your dad made you take out your earring?
No, it was over a girl.
Because the Steelers lost?
So a girl broke up with you and you punched a wall.
You had just gotten her tattoo on your arm and then she broke up with you.
Her name was Finley. That's the great irony.
Was it really?
Of course not.
That's a great name for a girl.
That's a
You
great
can name Breech baby number 2, Finley.
Finley Breech.
All right. Winners or losers? Winners.
You go losers first.
Losers. I'm not going to do the Bills losers because I think the Bills are going to win the game. So it doesn't matter they didn't get they have to play now the Ravens instead of whoever else they would have played. I'm going with the Steelers, of course. They were, again, it's interesting because just like the Rams Seahawks team the day before where the line kept going down, this Steelers line, with the Browns having no players, the line kept going down. It was 5 by kickoff.
Didn't move. It was back to 5. It was. I should have bet on the Browns.
They're literally saying, "Look at me. I'm explaining to you why this game's going to be weirder than you think it is." The Steelers came out flatter than I've ever seen them. The worst play call in Mike Tomlin's history on that punt, and they deserve to lose. And they lost, and now they're going home. And this team will never ever be the same because Roethlisberger, whether he comes back or not, is on the downside of a career, salary cap issues, blah, blah, blah. They could easily be one of the worst teams in the AFC North next year.
Wow. That got dark.
It's true. My
loser is Mike Vrabel. It is 4th and 2 from Baltimore's 40-yard line. You just gave Ryan Tannehill $1 billion contract. You just gave Derrick Henry $1 billion contract. You didn't give anyone on your defense $1 billion contract. That says you trust your offense and you threw them off the field and punted the ball. It was a horrible call, which makes you my loser for Sunday.
My loser? Duh. The Bears. Bears fans. You went 8-8.
Oh, God, I forgot.
You started 5-1. You peacocked around. You talked about how you were the best team in the NFC. Playoffs were a lock. Then you lost 6 straight games, and all of a sudden, maybe the Bears aren't that good, but this is for the best. Let's lose out. We need to lose out, get a good draft pick, fire everybody, reboot the whole thing. Instead, the Bears managed to go 8-8 and make the playoffs as a wild card, only to lose in humiliating fashion, not covering, not scoring double-digit points in a playoff game in the year of our Lord 2021. Mitch Trubisky, 19 of 29 for 109 yards and a meaningless touchdown. Just enough. The Bears did just enough to get into the playoffs and lose and be one and done, ruin their draft pick, not get anybody fired, probably get Mitchell Trubisky a contract extension or a franchise tag, and now you're stuck in hell. You're in purgatory. You are floating in an empty, endless void of NFL maw that you will never get out of because you decided that you needed to win and you needed to have these W's, and it's not worth it, Bears fans. But you took them anyway. You're the big losers this weekend.
Just leaning into it.
Why not?
My winner, the Baltimore Ravens. We had questions about them winning playoff games. Thank God Breech now has nowhere to go when he's trying to say Lamar Jackson doesn't win playoff games. He, sir, is no Andy Dalton. So take that. So, look, they're playing with a ton of confidence. Lamar Jackson looks to be in his 2019 form. We know that they're not going to punt in 4th down situations where they have a chance to score points, and they have a first-round pick as their kicker. A lot of things are going in the right direction for the Baltimore Ravens.
My winner is Browns fans. You waited 18 years for a playoff game. You were probably dreading it because you're playing the Steelers. You thought, oh my God, we're going to lose. And you scored 28 points in the first quarter, setting an NFL record. Probably still thought you were going to lose. And then finally you were up by like 20-something points in the 4th quarter. And finally, we're able to relax and say, oh my God, we're going to win a playoff game. For a lot of people, the first time in their entire life, because the last time they won one was during the 1994 season. Goodness gracious. Everyone in Cleveland, Browns fans, the state of Ohio, which includes me because I was raised there, and Kevin Stefanski for watching the entire game from his basement.
Oh, wait, are Bengals fans happy about a road playoff win?
Over the Steelers, yes.
That's the definition of loserdom.
No,
Yeah,
a Bengals fan, I bet 90% of Bengals fans were cheering for the Steelers to lose.
I also think that's the first Browns road playoff victory since the 60s.
What a loser mentality that is.
Oh,
Like,
Well, you have to cheer for one of them. Who, if you had to cheer for one, I feel like it's probably the Browns that Bengals fans are cheering for.
By the way, they ain't holding the Browns Super Bowl parade in Cincinnati, so I don't know
What? You don't know about the parade routes?
the last Browns road playoff win. Holy Moses.
what's the 60s, wasn't it?
December 28th, 1969.
That's so long ago. Wilson wasn't even alive.
Before the merger.
At the Cowboys, the coach of the Browns, Blanton Collier.
I remember him.
That sounds like Freddie Kitchen's pseudonym.
Blanton, what a great name. Blanton Collier, one hell of a model
I can't
American.
believe you don't know any Blantons.
Bill Nelson was the quarterback. 18 to 27, 219 yards.
So Tom Landry,
They are 0-8 in the playoffs since that game.
Roger Staubach, was he the quarterback in 69?
Yeah, but Craig Morton threw more passes.
Oh, Craig Martin also played.
Yeah.
for the Broncos.
And you know what's crazy to think about? They played the Vikings in the NFL title game that year. And if they had won, it would have been Browns Chiefs in Super Bowl IV.
Oh, wow. 2 AFC teams. Weird.
That would have been weird.
Crazy. My winner. By the way, it's gonna be tough to do winners and losers next week with only 4 teams.
Yeah.
Or
Maybe they'll make us quit doing it.
my winner is Sean Payton. So if you were watching the Nickelodeon version,
Oh, yeah. I saw that part.
well, Sean Payton gets slimed, right? That was afterward in the locker room. But if you're watching the Nickelodeon version live, as my buddy Garrett was, and I was, but Garrett was watching it with his kids, and I think I'm assuming lots of other people were there, tuned into this wonderful Viacom CBS channel, enjoying this moment with their kids, and they're thinking to themselves, "Oh my God, we're gonna." See. Oh, by the way, somebody in chat pointed out, I forgot that not only the kick to the Bears is the loser here, Mitch Trubisky won the MVP. Which is just like the funniest thing on the planet.
Did you hear how that happened?
For Trubisky to win the MVP.
Did you hear how that happened?
People voted on a poll. I don't know.
I think PFT commenter had something to do with that. I think
Good for him.
he orchestrated the rigged vote.
I'm not sure that Trubisky actually accepted the trophy or not. But
here's what happened. So it was acknowledged, and then the rules were stated as such that the player has to come from a winning team. So that saved him the ignominy of having to answer those questions after losing.
That's so great. He won the MVP. So anyway, Cameron Jordan is walking over to do an interview with like Nate Burleson and the Nickelodeon crew, and they have 2 giant buckets of slime, and kids across America are holding their breath, waiting for Cameron Jordan just get absolutely slimed. And they don't do it, and there's no slime. What a crippling end to the what this fun family friendly playoff game. And thankfully, Sean Payton, a man of his word, an honorable, caring man, comes through and gets slimed in the Saints locker room, and the Saints put it out on social media. So good for you, Sean Payton. Also won a playoff game. I kind of want the Saints to win it all now. I'm fine with it. Not because
Sean Payton got slimed.
I'd like to see Drew Brees get another one and Sean Payton to, I'd like Sean Payton to get
You
another
don't
one.
want Aaron Rodgers to win another one? What do you got against Aaron Rodgers?
He's not Philip Rivers. That's
You don't want Tom Brady to win another one? Is he too handsome?
I don't.
Tom Brady's got enough. I'm fine with Tom Brady.
By the way, what are our preseason Super Bowl picks? Let's refresh that.
Mine are dead.
You had Steelers.
I had Colts, Cowboys.
What did you have, Breech?
I had Chiefs, Cowboys,
Well, this guy had
Buccaneers.
Bucks, Ravens.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And I actually had the Bucks winning, so there's my Tom Brady angle.
I don't give anybody who has the Chiefs credit. If they
I know that's cheating. That's something that Blank would do.
Yeah, it's like Pete. Pete's like, I'm picking the Chiefs and the Packers every year until I die. It's like, well, that seems kind of boring. And
Except for this year when he's going to look brilliant.
But
because no one else picked the Packers.
No, but Pete, the problem for Pete is he loves the Bills. And I was telling him before, I was like, dude, you should pick the Bills to win the Super Bowl. Like, just go on a limb, pick the Bills to win the Super Bowl. And if they do it, you'll be a legend. Or pick the Chiefs like everyone else in America. I should have picked the Bills.
Or pick the Ravens.
I love the Ravens. I think the Ravens could win it.
No, Ravens, Bucks, need the Bucks to win it.
Okay. That's the show. That's a recap for Ryan and John. And we'll be, I'm sure we'll have a podcast tomorrow. I don't know what the hell
we will be with Jonathan Jones talking a little Deshaun Watson rumors, some coach and GM updates on Tuesday morning, first thing.
And Jonathan Jones picked the Chiefs Saints Super Bowl. You can talk about that.
There you go. Thanks, Breech. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with us late into the night. We'll be, you can watch us on YouTube, subscribe, rate, and review. Man, what a fun time. 3 hours live. We'll see you guys later. Have a great night.